Ahoy!
What are you doing over there?
That was my Trump dance.
Oh. Yeah.
Whenever he,
Ski poles?
well, I saw they were like on Twitter or X or whatever. You know, he had some big fundraiser thing, and I love that that's his like dance move. He does. It's the best old man dance move, and I don't know why, but I found myself breaking into the Trump dance there.
It's a bizarre little lightly coordinated fist pump thing.
Yeah, like he's got a couple of shake weights, and he's just he's working some lower arm fat.
We can't say what it really looks like.
Well, that's why I went with the shake weight.
I'm surprised he hasn't switched that up.
Well, look, when you're at a certain age, your dance move is your dance move, right? Like we all have one. You go to a wedding, whatever it is, and you're not like he's like what 78. You're not changing exactly. He goes with that one.
It's like in that movie Knocked Up when Seth Rogen's trying to get with Katherine Heigl, and he's doing the dice rolling move and like his buddies are like, I think he's doing the dice too much, and they're like, it's really all he's got.
It's what you got. Look, we all play the hand that we've been dealt, and hey, it works. The crowd loves it. They eat it up. So he goes with that one. But every now and then, for whatever reason, when music starts playing, I will find myself just kind of breaking into that as like a half joke, and then I'm like, hey, I kind of like this. Yeah, let's go.
Well, I'm glad you fired up.
Yeah.
I have expected not to see you in here today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because yesterday it was Saturday night maybe, or
Saturday?
maybe it was Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting around and I caught wind that the Powerball jackpot.
Oh yeah.
Was from the winner is from Portland.
Yeah, and Northeast, which would be how I go to
but
come in.
At first it was just Portland. They wouldn't say where. and of course my gut, when you realize that 1.3 billion was right under your nose,
621 lump sum.
it's a terrible feeling.
Yes.
Because I have been playing when the Powerball gets to $1 billion, I can't afford not to play.
Yeah. You're stupid to not play, right?
So I know a dude who lives in that area, and he says anytime he sees the billboard go over $1 billion, he just rolls in and gets one. And that's
what I do.
And I think he got one the previous drawing from that exact store.
Oh wait, we already know the store.
We know the store?
I think we know the store.
I don't think we know the store.
I swear I saw it online today. Let me
I don't
check.
think we know the store, but I would like to know the store. Well, hold on. Okay, so first of all, those billboards are great.
Sure,
because. Otherwise, the lottery would be out of sight, out of mind. But I drive by one every single day on I-5, and when it gets high, I'm like,
the 300 million I'm not interested in, but the
right.
1 point
well,
whatever
I saw
billion,
it the other day, or no, I saw it yesterday. It was like 20 million. I'm like,
whatever.
What a joke!
Lame.
Why would I even waste my $10 or whatever? So I immediately thought, oh my God, if that is from somewhere around here, I'm going to die.
So we were joking
because I kind of bounce. I'm in Southwest, and so I kind of pick and choose. I somehow have talked myself into the idea that there's actually some sort of strategy to it. It's like, I should go down to that one on Macadam. I haven't hit that one yet. It's like
that's the winner.
It doesn't matter anyway.
Well, my gal is. She really thinks the BTJ believes that at one point we're going to win the lottery. Like she's that type.
Well, you can't win if you don't play.
And so, boy, when that thing was sold in Portland, boy, no one would shut up at my house about it. My kids, her, the whole thing. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you guys. We didn't buy one, so.
She didn't buy it?
No one bought one.
Well, how is she going to win if she doesn't buy it?
Exactly. It was like, we were going to buy it. That could have been us. Yeah, well, it could have been, one of 300 million people, but it wasn't. But I did have that thought of like, what if I know the person? I think we all did. Like, what if that's a that's a buddy? What if that's a?
Well, I thought of you because then I was like, okay, that I hope that's not around our house because now I'm like, well, what if?
Oh my gosh.
And then when I heard, then they said it was in Northeast Portland. It was around, Northeast Portland. They said it was around PDX, the airport.
Yeah, someone's saying
97218.
Someone's saying the Plaid Pantry across from Northside Ford off Columbia Boulevard.
That's what I was seeing too. And I know a guy who's been in there to buy a ticket and did not go to the most recent one. There's a couple of shady dance
clubs down there. It's a very industrial
So
area.
I thought of you because then I thought, well, Sook might have picked one up on his way home because that's like off of 205.
Yeah, it's right.
It's like maybe Sook was over there at Dutch Brothers or something. I don't know. And he picked one up, and he won't be at work today, and we'll never see him again.
Well, I will tell you, and I've told you this, and hand to God, it would be 100% accurate, you would just get a text message from me that just simply said, don't worry about work, you're fine. Because I've said if I win that amount of money, you're retired as well.
Baby.
The
Hell
show
yeah.
just ends.
Let's go.
The show is just, it's over, it ends,
Yes.
and we ride off. There will be no farewell, there will be no nothing. This show just ends.
We won
and,
the lottery.
And thanks for coming.
So there's
Yes.
really two of us in this game, because same goes for you. So
Yes.
when I buy tickets,
Yeah.
you know, you got to be rooting for me.
Yes. 100%.
And I'll be the Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince meme, looking around the empty house, wondering what's going on.
Buck, we'd break you off a little something.
You're
so-
Well, that's
already-
nice.
You're already rich.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Your dad you already won the genetic lottery by being born rich. In order to give you anything, I would finally force you to admit your white privilege. Then and only then.
I'm
you
not going to
son
say
of
I'm
a
not
bitch, would
privileged,
you
but
get
I
it.
am not rich. There's a difference.
Yeah, it's
I would make you
ridiculous.
dance around in a chicken suit like in The Gentleman.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't gotten to that part of the gentleman yet, but I have seen it in the teasers.
That didn't go. It's like right at the beginning.
It's the first episode.
No, I know. I have not started it yet.
Oh,
I plan to. It's on my list.
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
the
go
first
well, by the
episode.
way. I wouldn't make him dance in the chicken suit. That didn't.
Well, that didn't end well, but I don't think ours would end that way.
Got to be a lot of blow involved, and make sure there's no shotguns around.
At
Well,
any
the
rate,
lottery can provide those things.
Anywho,
somebody
that is
won.
true.
Somebody from I assume they're from Portland.
Yeah, unless someone was driving through. Either way, someone is
1.3 billion.
I think with the lump sum and then after taxes, I want to say, which is kind of crazy to, when it's all said and done, I think it's like 330, 340 is the
that
take
all?
home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it.
Because the lump sum is 6.25, 620, something like that. And then you chop the federal and then Oregon 9% or whatever. So it's 300 million and change. It is kind of nuts to think about over $1 billion in your take home. I wonder whoever won that, if they're like, son of a bitch. Like, really? $340 million. That's my take home.
I honestly don't think you care.
No.
I mean, it's all life-changing money.
Yes, it is.
Doesn't matter. I don't know who gets the other 800 million, but or actually it's almost it's like $1 billion. So if it's 1.3 billion,
Uh-huh.
you only take home 300 and some
Well,
million.
because you can take home more if you take the annuity.
Yeah, the annuities, like
but-
over 30 years or something.
Yeah. So, but when you do the lump sum, like then the lottery just keeps it. It goes to the state. So that goes
Yes, the state.
So 621, and then federal, and then the rest is just federal taxes and state taxes.
Meanwhile, we have potholes all over the place.
Yes.
And homeless people all over the place.
Although if I had $321 million, you know what I wouldn't have to worry about? Potholes and homeless people. Because I'd be
would
fortified.
you be out of here?
I'd be fortified on Souk Mountain.
Where would you go? Where's Souk Mountain?
Well, we can't talk about that. I mean, Souk Mountain would.
I feel like it'd be in Mexico.
There's a good chance. Yeah. Although, you know what? I would tell you what, I would not leave the Pacific Northwest permanently. I would have I would have residence, but
Well, sure.
I'd be a snowbird. I would do. I personally think summers in the Pacific Northwest I can't beat them. But I'll tell you what, around Halloween, bye.
Yeah, once that Indian summer takes off, it's time for you to take
And
off.
you're
south.
right. South of the border, welcome to my new life as Miguel Sanchez, and we're somewhere in Oaxaca.
Was it Rose Festival to Halloween?
Yeah. And then after that, sayonara. Thanks
Well,
for coming.
Guys,
Gonna
we
go
didn't
get tan.
we didn't win.
No. It's
We
not
tried.
happening.
And we came close technically
Yeah,
because we live here and we play the lottery.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't,
No.
but I did.
You know what? I did think about it. I mean, occasionally.
Well, where would you have stopped?
I wouldn't have stopped there, but I have driven.
That's not far from
it's
where you
not
drive.
far from where I go. I probably would have bought it in Clackamas.
I mean, what's worse is then you start thinking about in Clackamas.
well, because that's where my gym is,
Oh.
and so like my gym, and then like I get gas out there and I eat lunch there, so it just
Yeah, I got
it would be Clackamas.
You start to think about, all the people that now say we're in Portland and we feel so close to it.
Yeah.
We really weren't.
No, imagine working.
But imagine,
Well-
you bought a ticket there and you didn't win.
Well, think about it. So that's right across the street from Northside Ford. I'm sure there's plenty of those employees that head over to the Plaid Pantry on a weekly basis to buy a Gatorade or pack of cigarettes, whatever. Or, like I said, there's a couple shady gentlemen's clubs down there. There's plenty of dudes that probably walk into those, that like you walk into the Plaid Pantry, you go over and get a little jiggly dance on your lunch break or whatever, and
Or the strippers.
or the strippers. Yeah. Again, you go over to buy your pack of Cools. Like, I'm sure for anyone that's along that stretch, I honestly am glad that it wasn't where I regularly
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it would drive me
like,
crazy.
when I found out it was in Portland, I'm like, please don't be in my neighborhood.
Yes.
Because if it's in my neighborhood, I can't live.
No, that would be horrific.
But now you think about all those people that were right around that.
Yeah.
Because it was sold, printed and sold on Saturday. The guy bought it, or whoever. the
One ticket
person
on Saturday.
bought it Saturday for the Saturday drawing.
Yep.
So if you were in there on Saturday and you bought a lottery ticket and you didn't win,
Yeah.
you were sniffing around 1.3 bill.
Yeah, that's not good.
Now, do you continue to play the lottery at that point, or do you say that's the closest I'm going to come out?
I think that's well, I mean, it's one in like 330 million. So the fact that you sniffed it, you should probably at that point just hang it up.
But your chances never change. They're the same as they were
That's
before.
true.
Same.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So if the Powerball were the same jackpot,
Mhm.
but only sold in Oregon, would you play?
Yes, I would play on a regular basis. If the
Only Oregon.
if the amount of money kept going at the same rate, but it was just in Oregon,
Yeah.
absolutely, I would play on a regular basis.
Yeah, at that point you got to play.
Well-
Because what do we have? Like 3.5 mil?
Something like that.
4 million
it's
people?
it's silly to think that you would still win it, but yeah, at that point, then yes, it's. I'm not going to say it's wise to play, but it would get me 100%.
Can't afford not to.
Yeah, like even if you did like just a West Coast sort of thing, like if it was like 1 in like 20 million, I think you might still get me to play. But 1 in 300, it's like 1 in 320 million. And I usually don't worry about it because the BTJ usually buys one. She's the lottery type. She's got hope.
She's got to be kicking herself here.
Oh, believe me, I put the blame squarely on
I
her
mean,
shoulders.
does she go up that way at all?
No. That's
All right.
a whole other. Have you driven down that road, Columbia?
Yeah.
It's not.
I've been over there.
Yeah,
Colwood's over there.
That's not a place for small Asian women. It's a rough.
It can be, yeah.
It's a little bit of rough. That's a blue collar sort of neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's the homeless encampment there, and it's
Truck stop or two.
truck stop, and like the Peterbilt I think has a big factory down there, and there's like a cat dealer.
Nondescript warehouses.
Yeah, that's
Those always frighten
yeah,
me. What's going on in there?
I've never once been like, hey, you know what I want to do? Just cruise down Columbia Boulevard on a Saturday night and see what's up.
Well, somebody did, and
Someone
they
did,
are
and yeah.
really rich because of it.
Yep. And yeah, someone asking the Plaid Pantry. I do believe they get $1 million for selling the the ticket. Yeah, they get a nice little chunk of change.
As they should. Or maybe they shouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
And then then we're getting the whole. You always take the lump sum, time value of money, all that
100%.
stuff. They always tell you take
Lump sum every time.
Yep.
Yep.
You can put that money to work, and
Let's go.
there you go.
Not that it even matters.
No.
At this amount.
Although most people that win the lottery end up blowing it. I mean, I don't know about to this extent, 300 million, but
Well, I'd be willing to
I'd
see
give it a
what that's
whirl.
like.
Well, it's the old. You got to be careful. I'm not saying that everyone that plays the lottery or wins is dumb, but they do say it's a tax on the stupid, and
Voluntary taxation is what my dad says.
it's like if you're terrible with money, right? And your thing is my way out of whatever is I'm going to win the lottery. I always say this: if you're terrible with money and I give you $100, you will piss away $100. If I give you $1,000, you'll piss away $1,000. You keep going, and it just doesn't matter. You'll piss it away. It's just in greater amounts. So, if you gave someone that's horrific $1 million, you think they're gonna spend that responsibly? So you're like, how can you blow $300 million? Go ask Mike Tyson. There's lots of people that have blown through big time money. So it's just the dumb people make dumb decisions with small amounts and with large amounts. But hopefully, you could get some smart people around you to help you where you have a continual stream of money that you can do dumb things with. But
We have one of our texters who says they won $7,217 playing Oregon Megabucks, which was one number shy of $3.5 million, and now they are absolutely hooked.
Oh, there you go.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. I think I had a buddy of mine down in Bend, and I think his mom or grandma, I want to say they won like $1 million, 1 point.
See, that's what you're playing
1.2, something like that.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, then you get those little milli pots.
Wasn't enough to retire or anything, but I think, paid off the debt in the house and
What do you
and
get,
all
like
that.
4 of the numbers, 5 of the numbers or something?
Something like that. Yeah, it wasn't like a giant sum of money, but, it's beats a sharp stick in the eye. Like, here's $1 million.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, it's Monday. Did you guys know that it's Monday out there?
I'm familiar.
It's supposed to be a pretty nice week. We've got the Masters this week.
Yes. Well, one of us will be there.
One of us will be there.
And it's not me and Sue.
It's not us.
Hell yeah.
I'm green with jealous rage. I'm very excited for you. Though. Sunday at Augusta?
Yeah, you were saying send pictures. I said, fella, I can't.
Yeah, no.
They don't let you have your phones in there.
Did you see the post that's going viral from that?
What's that?
So there's practice rounds out there today.
Yes, there are.
And somebody, I don't know who it was, maybe a journalist, somebody who's verified, took a photo of the manual leaderboard that they have, and somebody put like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper up there with red marker that says Jim Waters, call wife.
Right.
So clearly someone is in attendance, and his wife needs to get a hold of him urgently.
And you may think it's like it's easy to get your phone or in there, or it's like, right? Dude, it is Gestapo. Like you are not. And if you get caught, whoever your badges belong to,
gone, right?
Toast.
Yeah, so
gone.
You got to because you got to take that seriously because you got them from a friend.
Yes, unless they're your badge. Well, you don't want to lose your own badges.
No, but I would rather lose my own badge than lose someone else's. Dude, I'll tell you what, that would keep if I have been known to get sideways from time to time. I don't particularly like being told what to do, but if you ever want to keep me in check, it'd be something like that. Knowing that I've got not my ass on the line, but someone that did me a solid. Watch me shut the hell up and mind my P's and Q's.
Last time I was there, the first time, the Masters Pete set me up out there. And I think Masters Pete is feeling a little I think he's feeling a little hurt.
That you've gone to a different...
Well, someone else offered.
Yeah.
Another listener. And so I'm like, well, now there's Masters Byron.
Sorry, Masters Pete. We've moved on.
But
there's competition here now.
I said, Masters Pete, there's always going to be... You're always going to be Masters Pete to me.
Yes.
Okay, don't feel bad.
We moved on.
You forever will be the first.
But we moved on to bigger and better. Sorry. Because you didn't get Sunday last time. This is Sunday.
That's right.
Oh, you get Sunday this year.
Yeah, I'm going Sunday.
Hey, Masters Pete, guess what? He just got one-upped.
So I'm curious, and we may get into this later in the week, but now that you've been once and have, like, I would imagine seen most of the course or the whole course, do you have like a spot that you know you want to post up?
Yes.
Strategy?
No question. Now, Sunday is going to be a little harder because it's going to be very busy around the lead groups. But what you do there is they sell these little chairs. It's so cool. They sell these little chairs at like $30. And by the way,
blended with the grass, right?
Nothing is expensive there. Yeah, they're green. And you go set them wherever you want, and no one will sit in them. No one sits in other people's chairs. And there's a little spot in the back you can put your business card in if you really are worried about it. But most people do not sit.
Yeah, they respect it.
And so you go just set them there, and then you walk the course, and you go back and sit there whenever you're tired or you want to eat or whatever. That's what you do. So, yes, I have a strategy for where we're going to place those chairs. No doubt. You got to get there early and get those down. I don't think we'll get to 18 because 18's a zoo, but... Yeah.
Because people are waiting. I mean, that's...
15's the best, is one. 15, 16 is a really good spot.
So as a novice viewer, that would have been... I guess what I would have guessed is the best because you can watch, the end of the par 5 15 and then the start of the par 3 16 and catch a little bit of both of those. Is that right?
You certainly can, and you can watch them tee off on 17 too. 17 behind 17 green is actually a pretty sneaky good spot. I got caught on TV there last time. At any rate, last time we were there was a bunch of bros getting all housed, and they were so worried. One of their buddies got so drunk that he was basically about to pass out and like stumbling around. And they were so worried that they were going to lose their, because seriously, dude, they do not mess around.
Yeah.
Like, they will kick you out and take your badges.
Did they kick their own friend out?
What they did was they propped him up by a tree and left him.
Did they take his badge?
I don't know. We ended up walking on, but they were not going to be around when he...
when he melted down.
So the idea being that they can't get their badges if they're not around?
Well, that's right.
But they could get future years, right?
I'll just say this. If those were my
badges...
Well, no,
they take them and it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
They just
you
take
will
the physical
not get
pass and that's that.
It's gone.
But that belongs to somebody. Like, badges aren't tickets for every year. Badges recur.
Boy, I'll tell you what. If I'm with a group of people and one of you is going sideways, I'm sorry.
I'm out.
I got to throw him out. You
gotta get out and call it over, man. Like, see ya.
I'm going proactive. I'm like, hey, dude, sorry, but we're pulling the chute. I'm like, hey, walk with me, and then we get to the gate. I take his badge, I shove him out, and be like, I love you. We'll see you at the end of the tournament. Like you have no choice at that point. You got to cut him off. It's like a gangrene limb. You got to cut off the hand to save the rest of the body, and hopefully he understands when he sobers up.
And I'll take it a step further. I'm not bringing anybody who has a chance of doing that.
No.
I mean, come on, man.
No.
I mean, what's your problem?
Yeah, you would think that you would have the sense that it's just not the place.
There's
for
a
that.
time and
Yeah.
place, gentlemen. Time and place.
Well, it's Masters Week, guys. I'll be here until Friday. I'll be out Friday, and look for me on TV on Sunday.
I will. We'll be give a little looky loo there.
Yeah. Let's get to the poll question. You know, we have college basketball championship tonight.
Yes, we do.
Did you know that?
Not the one that matters, apparently.
Not really excited about it, as
I
I'm
am.
just tired of Yukon rolling everyone.
You don't want to see Kling Kong versus.
Well, I do, but I just am afraid that it's just going to be like all the other games that we've seen.
They're favored by like what, 7.5, 8?
Yeah, it's 7.5.
Yeah. By the way,
As they should
I'll
be.
take UConn and lay the points.
They have covered their last 11 tournament games going back to last year's
Let's
title.
go ahead.
11-0.
11-0.
I'll go ahead and just
Going for
lay it.
12-0 against the spread consecutive
So I
tournaments
don't-
tonight.
I'll lay the
It's
points.
just kind of lame. It's the same as the South Carolina Iowa game, which was cool, and I kept an eye on it, but you just kind of knew that South Carolina was better and was going to win.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels tonight.
Once they took the punch and recovered from it, they were cooked.
And we have John Calipari leaving Kentucky.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
And we have the Isaac and Suk drop bracket challenge finishing 4.
Action packed, Pee Wee.
Guys.
Action packed.
Guys, it's 3:21 on the Fan.
What's your
families for over 60 years. AAA-IAQ.com.
What is the deal? By the way, did you see the Curb finale?
Yeah, I watched it last
Oh, it
night.
was beautiful.
It was good.
I loved it.
It was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Jerry shows up.
They landed that.
Exactly like you predicted.
Yes, but with
A twist.
a twist.
Yeah.
I just thought it was such a wonderful FU nod to everyone that hated the Seinfeld finale, but then acknowledging at the end
That's how we should have
That's
finished
how
it.
they should have
Yeah.
done it.
I also thought
it was great.
all the people they brought in were way better
Yeah.
than they did in the original Seinfeld
Yeah.
finale.
It was-
Like that
It was
comparison
a
was way
good
better.
recap of
I enjoyed
all the people Larry had pissed off over the years.
And all the things he did.
Yeah. the
Incest survivor.
my favorite episode, like it top 5 for me, is still the Jesus P episode, and that they rehashed that. Oh, because there's so many to choose from. So the fact that they threw that one out there, that warmed my heart.
Let's see here now.
Right here.
Oh, Friday, we asked you this. If football ceased to exist,
Mm-hmm.
which sport would get the most attention from you? Basketball won.
Yeah.
Barely.
Oh, really?
39% said basketball.
Baseball was the other?
38% said baseball.
Okay.
Very close. 12% hockey. Only 11% said soccer.
Yeah. Well, and the soccer thing is interesting because I think that equates a lot to me with women's basketball and what's happening right now. It's like the game, the national title game was just enormous. I watched it. I watched the second half of it. The Red Wings had a big tilt I had to finish. They were playing the Buffalo Sabres. Playoffs were on the line. I mean, priorities, Rob. But once that was over, then I watched the entire second half of the Iowa game. Did a monster number, right? At 18.7 million. And therein lies my question is with soccer, with hockey, with the Tour de France, with like Olympic sports, occasionally we get these just phenomenons where we just get this monstrous like attention span. And is it a moment in time or does it build upon it? Because I've been hearing that with soccer for my entire life, that this is going to be the thing that vaults soccer. And I like soccer. I enjoy watching soccer. I love going to the Timbers. I've gotten to be more of a soccer fan over the years, but it's never really grabbed my true fandom.
Well.
So is this the one that finally takes it over the top, or is this a moment in time and then next year we go right back to women's basketball gaining momentum like soccer, but never really doing this again?
Well, I think it ebbs and flows, and I think it takes a long time.
Yes. Well,
So-
again, soccer's been doing it my entire life.
That's what I'm saying. That it takes a long time, but you can't. I can't be convinced that soccer isn't more popular now than it was when David Beckham came over here.
Sure.
Right? So David Beckham comes over, and we're like, oh, that's huge, but he's old, and it's
Yeah.
just like kind of a novelty. Well, now there's Messi.
Yeah.
But how many years are in between those two?
A lot.
A lot.
And you
So
know,
it just takes a long time, and it builds. And then sometimes, there are some down years or some circumstances where it's not quite as popular for whatever reason, or
Well,
the
like-
stars aren't staying in school or whatever. But I just think there's no. I also can't be convinced that women's basketball didn't just get a huge boost for the future with this moment in time.
it got an enormous boost. But again, I just asked the question, and I don't know what the answer to it is. Is Caitlyn Clark, Lance Armstrong, or Tony Hawk, or Michael Phelps, one of these transcendent athletes that raises the interest in your sport, but then when you leave, we're back to not caring? Women's basketball certainly is more popular than it's ever been before. I don't know what happens when Caitlyn Clark leaves. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens when she moves to the WNBA. I don't think it translates to the WNBA. I think there's a better chance that the college game continues to have a big uptick with some of the stars, with Juju and with Paige buckets coming back. But I don't know. Maybe this really does have staying power. But I'll tell you what, it's piqued my interest, and it piqued almost 19 million people's interest with the title game.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. 19 million people.
Yeah.
South Carolina LSU yesterday.
Peaked at 20 something.
But today's poll question, it's up there at 1080 The Fan on X. We're asking you who is most dominant in sports right now. And there are 4 options. Max Verstappen, and for those who don't know, he is F1.
Yeah.
and he basically wins every race.
But they always say that's like a car money engine thing. But
Well, it is, but you still have to have
you
a good
still have to
driver.
have a good driver.
South Carolina women's basketball.
What's crazy is they were in they lost last year to Iowa, and they lost all of their starters and just went undefeated. And like their bunch of the freshmen came in and were dominant in that game. At one point, their bench was 36-0 against Iowa's. Like, that's crazy.
Somebody posed the question on Twitter: how many ladies on the Iowa team would have even made the rotation on South Carolina's team besides Caitlyn Clark?
Look, not many.
I have no idea.
The consensus was maybe 2.
Yeah, look,
2.
I watched that game, and I've seen Iowa play a couple times. And no offense to the Iowa gals, but, you know.
Different cut.
Caitlyn Clark was dragging along she was dragging along a bus with a couple flat tires on it.
What if there were 5 Caitlyn Clarks?
I think they
could do that.
I think they'd be fine. But, you know, those big gals in the middle
Be hard to guard.
The gals in the middle for South Carolina, I felt like that was like you when you're rebounding against your dad or like older brother. Like, it just wasn't like, I felt bad for the Iowa people. Like, it was a bunch of like small white girls that couldn't jump.
Where
like,
do they grow these women?
Not in Iowa. And the other thing that I don't know why, but this is like the women's game has grown on me leaps and bounds. And one of the things why it's grown on me, even though it's not pretty, every layup in women's basketball is an adventure. Like, normally, like if a guy gets the ball on the block and he's right there, or he's got an open layup, you know, you take it for granted. He's going to turn around, he's going to dunk it, little baby hook, layup. No. In the women's game, when you get it down on the block, especially when you're Iowa, there ain't no guarantee that ball is getting in. You're just kind of turning and hucking that thing, and every layup is a hold your breath. What is happening here? And while it's not the prettiest thing, I actually think it was like over the course of these the women's tournament, I kind of found myself kind of being like getting excited, like, because you don't know what's going to happen on somewhat routine plays.
I think the pace is good.
Yeah.
I like the pace of women's basketball.
Yes.
And it also may be helped by quarters. I don't know how you feel about halves versus quarters, but
yeah, I
kind of feel like quarters lead to more points. I'm probably wrong about this. Nothing to back this up, but it just feels like it leads to more intense play or faster play for a shorter amount of time.
It does seem stupid that the only people that play halves is the men. Like, you don't do that in the NBA. You don't do it.
I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm with you. Go to quarters.
Who is most dominant in sports right now? Max Verstappen, South Carolina women's basketball, Yukon men's basketball, or NFL?
Yeah, the answer is the NFL.
What?
Wow.
Come on.
Like, any of these numbers that we throw out are adorable compared to what the NFL does. The NFL just laughs at any sport that and their TV numbers. Just stop it.
Quite honestly, I think the answer is probably Max Verstappen. if you really look at what he has done,
Yeah.
he wins basically every race over there. But I get it; most people don't really follow F1 over here. So that's the poll question. It is on X at 1080 The Fan, brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling. When you vote, please vote hard. We will wrap up the women's championship, look ahead to the men's championship, and then John Calipari stealing a little college basketball thunder today. So it is 3:36. Here's Buck.
the coverage of Caitlyn Clark and Samuel Jackson and Stephen A. Smith. Everyone has to chime in, and Dawn Staley with her, and then all the Yukon women that hate,
Wait a minute.
Caitlyn Clark.
Samuel Jackson?
Yeah, of course he had to
What
chime in
happened?
because it's racist that people are talking about Caitlyn Clark and not about South Carolina, and then it's a race war
He
again.
said that? Samuel Jackson said that?
Samuel Jackson chimed in because people didn't like the fact that they thought that Iowa was being covered more than South Carolina.
Well,
And
Caitlyn Clark's the story.
That's what, like, can we
mean-
just admit that while women's basketball has grown by leaps and bounds, that the reason why this whole thing is happening right now, the reason why that we're getting 14 to 20 million people that are tuned into something is that for whatever reason, and I don't know exactly what it is, but for whatever reason, Caitlyn Clark has captured the imagination of sports fans and non-sports fans alike. And when that happens, there's really no why do Furbies become a thing? Why do Crocs become a thing? Why do we get one-hit wonders or bands that all of a sudden, that they just become the rage? Like it's Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's a fine musician. Did anyone see Taylor Swift becoming the single greatest force in the music industry? You don't know why, but when it happens, and you can't really ask why, you just know that it is. And right now with Caitlyn Clark, and she has proved it, whether it's playing LSU, and I thought that maybe the LSU was the perfect storm. The storyline, the black versus white, Deep South versus, Midwest, the trash talk, Kim Mulkey, big personalities. I thought that was the perfect storm. But it turns out that Caitlyn Clark is just that. This moment in time, Caitlyn Clark made the country care about women's basketball. And so you can be mad at that South Carolina was clearly better. That game, like, they were better than Iowa, and it wasn't even, like, it jumped off the page at you. And South Carolina is an amazing story. Just like Yukon from years ago is an amazing story, or Baylor or LSU. But I'm sorry, the reason why 20 million people watched wasn't because of Dawn Staley in South Carolina. It was because of Caitlyn Clark.
Well, and we've seen that South Carolina storyline before. It's literally happened 10 times in women's college basketball that an undefeated season wire to wire happened. Ariana's team did it 6 times. So the reason we're not making as big a deal is because we've never seen a Caitlyn Clark and we've seen a South Carolina.
Well, and it's hard to I didn't see what Samuel Jackson said, but people always want to blame the media. The media is only going to go to the stories that people want to read about and hear about.
Yes.
And Caitlyn Clark was the draw. That's why they're covering Caitlyn Clark more. Now, I think maybe his ire, if he had ire, should be directed more at the idea of why is Caitlyn Clark the story here when look at what South Carolina is doing. Well, there's a lot of easy answers to that. One, she's got a very girl next door vibe.
Yep.
Make no mistake about it. White girl from Iowa.
Yeah.
A lot of the country identifies with that. And then she's amazing at what she does. Like raining 3-pointers, like 3 bombs are the most exciting thing in basketball these days. Look at Steph Curry. Look at the All-Star break where Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu went at it.
Best part about it.
It was the best part about it. People love that. It used to be the dunk.
Yeah.
It's not anymore.
Well,
It's
distance.
doing what she's doing. And she's, dude, and it's not just threes. I mean, she's really fun to watch. That's the other thing. So I don't really understand how you couldn't see why she's a sensation.
Well,
and their team was really good. They made it all the way to the finals. They made the Final Four last year, right?
Yeah.
And they made it all the way to the finals.
Well, they made the championship game both years.
Oh, was it the title game last year?
Yeah, they lost to LSU.
LSU.
They lost to LSU in the title game, then lost to South Carolina.
I don't see what's so hard to understand about
it's hard because you got the Diana Taurasi's and the Cheryl Millers of the world that are like, look, we've been doing this for a long time and no one paid attention to us. And Dawn Staley and others that are like, we're better than them and people aren't paying attention.
I think it's just the style of game.
And it leads people to be bitter and upset. But I get this is in every form of music. I brought up the Taylor Swift thing. Remember when Taylor Swift won whatever Grammy, and what did Kanye do? Kanye jumped up on stage and was like, hey, Taylor Swift is fine, but hey, Beyonce over here. Like we all have this where we feel that we don't get the credit that we deserve or that the person that we support deserves, and you get upset when something that you view as not unique or not special does. And I think you have that right now. And it's this weird thing with women's basketball because what Caitlyn Clark is doing is amazing for the sport, and it's growing the sport. And begrudgingly, a lot of these women and coaches are like, it's great for the sport, but at the same time, they're like, whoa. I don't want to give Caitlyn all the credit because she's standing on our shoulders and she's still not even the best at this game. And so it's like this weird thing where they're trying to embrace the growth and what she's meant to it, but at the same time, kind of taking shots at her and saying that we don't get it.
Is that jealousy? Is it just like we didn't get our flowers the way she did?
I think there's a. I think
want to be
there's
noticed.
there's a piece of that.
And they know they're good. I mean, they're good, and
yeah.
probably have a point in some way. But come on, here's another one that somebody texted in on the Vancouver Fort text line. She's the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history, men or women.
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious why people are interested in her.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, come on, man. But yeah, I get it. Although Dawn Staley, she was really complimentary of Caitlyn Clark, went out of her way to talk for her about Caitlyn Clark for about 45 seconds after she won the title. She could have easily gotten undersaid and been pissed, just like you were saying, and been pissed about how they're not getting the coverage and Caitlyn Clark is. And then,
I think
she didn't have to say what she said.
Because she had some comments before the game, and again, I think Dawn Staley and the rest of women's basketball is smart enough to know this is good. Rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right.
And
just embrace it.
And so, yes, like you can definitely tell there's some sharp edges when people are talking about Caitlyn Clark, but I'm glad that Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley and a lot of these big figures in women's basketball that have voices are at least smart enough to know, one, appreciate it because she's amazing. Whether she's the GOAT or not, I don't know. I hate those conversations. That's for someone else. She's one of the best to ever do it. As you mentioned, she's the all-time leading scorer, and you may not like all the coverage, but you're going to love your paycheck. You're going to love the new TV contract. You're going to love the exposure. So just kind of put your arms around it and let's all move forward with the growth of a sport that, hopefully continues to rise up.
And I think Staley gets that.
Yes.
Based on what she said. I mean, you're right. It's like Caitlyn Clark just made South Carolina and Dawn Staley that much more recognizable.
Yes.
And
I hate to say it, but if Caitlyn Clark doesn't exist and she's gone, and that is South Carolina versus
what if it's South Carolina Yukon?
Yeah, South Carolina.
I didn't think that was a moving screen, did you?
It
was close. But
I think it was, especially when you slow it down. But in that moment,
boy,
I don't love it.
I didn't like that call at all.
But if that's South Carolina and that's Yukon, I'm sorry. That game, I'm not gonna say that it's. Look, it is gutted. That's 60% of your audience is gone, maybe more. And you're right. South Carolina, I mean, they lost all 5 starters, brought in a whole group of people, a bunch of freshmen, and they went undefeated wire to wire. Freaking amazing. Awesome. Kick ass. By the way, $6,000 Louis jacket that Dawn Staley was wearing. Styling out there. If that's Yukon, we're not talking about it today, and the national media isn't talking about it. So yes, embrace the fact that slaying the dragon, beating Caitlyn Clark, brings you that much more attention to your team, which is why I say, even if you think that Caitlyn Clark is being unfairly propped up, rising tide lifts all boats. In the UFC, people hated Conor McGregor. They said he wasn't the best fighter. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. He was loudmouth. But you know what Conor McGregor did? He got everyone paid. And everyone wanted to fight him because when you fought him, you made your biggest payday and he made everyone on that roster money. And that's what Dana White used to say all the time. He goes, dude, people can hate this guy all they want. Everyone wants to be on his pay-per-view because it means money in your pocket. And that's what Caitlyn Clark means. Love her or hate her, she means money and exposure to everyone involved in that game. And that's a good thing for everybody.
All right, up next, does anyone have any faith Purdue beats Yukon tonight? We'll take a look at the men's final. It is 3:52 on the Fan. Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. VancouverFord.com. Someone said, I'm significantly less interested in tonight's game than the women's game. The women's game is just better TV right now. The one and done has destroyed the men's game.
I just think that, to say that it's a better product, that's not true. It's just not. The play isn't as good.
Well, it might be to him.
Maybe. I'm sorry.
I mean, the men's game is not.
The men's game isn't pretty, but I'm not. Look, as much as I've enjoyed this run with women's basketball, we need to stop the narrative that somehow it's a better game than the men. Stop.
Well, he said better TV. And I would tend to agree with that.
I agree with that because it's got star power. Again, it has done a much better job of creating stars and people that we know and storylines and keeping people around for 3 and 4 years. The women's game is where the men's game was 20 years ago when those Duke teams with Christian Laettner and Bobby Hurley, and you had villains, and then you had those great Kentucky teams and Danny Manning in Kansas, and you would see teams kind of grow and develop. That's what the women's game has become, is there are much better storylines. And so, yes, from that standpoint, sure, you can make the argument, and it's a very good one, that it is better TV. But like the idea, like I hear that all the time, like the fundamentals and all that, like we need to pump the brakes a little bit on that. And let's give some credit to, like, you're going to watch 2 7-footers that are really, really skilled go tonight. Watch Yukon play sometime. That team is ridiculous. Like, this Yukon team is like UNLV dominant. I mean, they're like 7 deep, and they just crush people. I mean, they are really, really a fun team to watch. If you like watching good basketball, watch Yukon.
Well, do you think the men's rating beats the women's?
I don't think so.
Because the women got 18.7
Women got
million.
18.7, peaked at like 23.
Does tonight's game beat that?
Do we know what last year's title did?
I can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 great teams. I
Yes.
mean, it's certainly a heck of a matchup. And you're right, there is a little bit of star power in it.
Yeah.
Even though, well, how long's Edie been there? At
He's
least
been-
3 years, right?
I think he's been there all 4. I think
Has
he's a
he?
senior, right?
I mean, he's dominating. Like that dude, and it's a different style of game than Caitlyn Clark,
Yeah.
but obviously, but he's like one of the most dominant college tournament players ever.
So last year's title game did not
Statistically.
do 18 million. It did 14.6.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the women might,
The women might get him.
and if you think about the way Caitlyn
I think
Clark,
they will get him.
if you think about the way Caitlyn Clark plays, imagine a male player for either Purdue or Yukon.
It's Steph Curry all over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
imagine
she's the only one
a
doing it.
male player for one of those teams who plays like her, chucks threes just like like Buck said, Curry, and that style of play, whom we have gotten to know over 4 years. Like, imagine if Zach Edey was that.
Yeah.
Dude, we would be talking about it the same way.
Well, it's the same. Like
It's the style.
yeah. If you took like remember Chet, right? Let's go with Chet and Gonzaga. Chet Holmgren. Like, he's a one and done. If he had stayed at Gonzaga for 4 years, that's a big freaking deal. Some of those Kentucky teams, obviously Calipari in the news today, but imagine if the people that Coach Cal recruited actually stayed at Kentucky for more than 1 year. Imagine some of those teams that he could have stacked up. And then kind of because of the transfer portal too, that you're getting some of these, the women's team, you're like, who was the, I forget who it was for South Carolina. One of their guards was saying that she was watching this team last year and was like, they could use me. And so you're actually like getting some like some super teams that are developing. LSU had that too, where like you're getting all conference players from other schools that are transferring into these juggernauts, and you're creating these really, really interesting teams. And men's basketball just right now doesn't have that. But if you stuck around for 3 and 4 years, I think you could. It's just that the state of men's basketball with the one and done and the interest in it and the player movement and all that, it's kind of gutted the game. And you even talk about this, and you're a diehard basketball fan with Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, men's basketball in college has just been, it's gotten to be atrocious.
Yeah.
In a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And, that's why, like, this guy, the last text, and then we'll move on, but they said, is there any good basketball at any level anymore? And honestly, I had the same thought. And look, there's a difference between good basketball and good TV, right? I'm
Sure.
just a fan. I want good TV.
Yeah.
Look, the elite level of the NBA, you get to the conference championships, the
scary
finals,
good.
dude, it's so good. But what percentage of all NBA basketball is that? 5%? I mean, there's a lot of to his point, and I couldn't agree more. There is a lot of bad basketball or not good basketball at all levels. Men, see, we like to make it about the sexes, or maybe even, as you said with LSU Iowa, about the races. But it's not the game of basketball is hard to be to play it really well and be good TV is really, really hard.
I just think sometimes that's
true of the NBA too.
Yeah, but I think sometimes that, and look, neither one of us is the world's biggest NBA fan, but I think sometimes that's a really lazy narrative. If you watch the good teams, if you watch the Denver Nuggets, if you watch Oklahoma City, if you watch Boston, Milwaukee this year it's been a little wonky, but I go see the Bucks play every year because my buddies from Milwaukee, so when they come to town, we go watch them. I'm sorry, you go watch a high-level NBA championship caliber team. What they are doing on the floor is stupid good.
The athleticism is insane.
Well, that's what I just said.
I know. I'm saying, but you can take that '80s crap and you want to talk about the game. Dude, the teams today would absolutely mop the floor.
Well,
with
but
those
was that
teams.
good TV though back then? I mean, I would argue that it wasn't. Right? So that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between good basketball and good TV. It's hard to be both. And I said exactly what you just said about the elite of the NBA, but
I just think it's more
that league is not that interesting. It really is. The top of it is.
Yes.
And I guess that's true of, and if you start to think about it, it's true of women's basketball and men's basketball in college too.
Yeah.
Because who wants to watch?
Exactly. We're talking about like 4 women's teams that anyone
Exactly.
that cares
the top
about.
level of it is really, but I think to his point, getting back to that text, his point is the Caitlyn Clark thing and women's basketball was actually better TV than any of it.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. I mean, it's not to say that it's the best basketball fundamentally or skill-wise or team-wise. It's most likely not. But that doesn't mean that it's not the best to watch. And that's an interesting point, because if you think back to like Hank Gathers and all those guys at Loyola Marymount, think about how they played.
Yeah.
Think about how Arkansas used to play with 40 minutes of hell. Dude, that
was fun.
Was a blast to watch. It made basketball way more interesting. Yeah. And so you don't automatically get eyeballs by being good. There's a difference between being good and being good for TV and drawing people in, and that's what Caitlyn Clark did.
It's good versus entertaining, and that's
exactly, and that's what women's basketball did. Yeah. And I'm with anybody who says that was not entertaining. I think you're crazy, because it was. Not saying it was great in terms of the play or fundamentals or whatever, but it was really, really entertaining, and that's, as a sports fan, that's most of us. We're not diehard X's and O's guys.
It's
man.
all you can ask.
Give me something interesting.
Yeah.
And I think when the Celtics end up meeting the Nuggets, that's going to be damn interesting. And there may be a couple of other series in there, right? This year in the NBA, it is kind of interesting because you have some pretty good teams that are in the play-in range, right? Like the Suns or the Lakers or the Warriors,
Sixers.
Yeah. So this year might be actually the NBA playoffs might be interesting all the way through this year, but that sure as hell ain't every year, man.
No, it is not.
And by the way, of those series are awful.
The people are pointing out the guy they were talking about from South Carolina was Pow, the Oregon guard that transferred from the Duckies in there. Since he was watching South Carolina, was like, they could use me. Transfers over to South Carolina, is knocking down threes, and is part of the championship now. And again, kind of building like an entire new squad down there.
I'd also like to point out, as somebody else texted, I said, well, it was the only thing on yesterday. I beg to differ, sir. There was the riveting finish at the Valero Texas Open.
Don't give me that excuse. When 20 million people tune into something,
it's because they care.
It's because they care. Again, I sat down.
Were you guys watching the Valero Texas Open? Did that have your rods and cones?
I told you.
My eyes are very important to me.
Red
My
Wings
eyes were
Sabres, and then on to women's basketball.
So no golf? You didn't see it?
No.
Oh,
My
man.
eyes were not important when it came to the Valero whatever.
Valero,
Yeah.
Texas Open,
No, I didn't.
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Wonderful finish. Really exciting.
Hey, the Red Wings are back in the playoff mix right now. Huh?
So we'll get to Calipari talk later. Yeah, we still haven't got to the men's game.
No.
God, what's going on here?
Well, the ladies, man.
Yeah, we'll
the
set
ladies
up
are kicking ass and taking
we'll
names.
tee up the men's game here for a short seggy next, and then we'll get to our Stockwatch. 407 on the Fan. And Primetime Stockwatch is up next. Real quick, though, we do have Yukon Purdue tonight. Should be pretty good.
I hope so.
Maybe.
I don't know what to expect.
UConn stomping a mud hole in everybody, but I don't know. I mean, look, give Purdue credit. Purdue the last and who was it? Hurley even said it. He goes, the last 2 years, the two best teams in the country have been Purdue and UConn.
I think that's right.
Purdue was great last year. They got knocked out as a 16 seed. They had a bad game and got bounced, but this year they've been dominant. And the fact that you have two legit 7-footers, going at it, I'm excited for this one. I'm hoping Purdue can keep it close. It's just at this point, it kind of feels like UConn is Thanos. They're just like inevitable.
Well, Buckley was mentioning in his Sports North that UConn has covered every game so far in the tournament. Well, so has Purdue.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a little bit of a collision course here, but I don't know that. Well, clearly they didn't last year, but UConn also covered every game last year too, which is wild.
Yeah. They haven't not covered in the NCAA tournament.
11 straight covers, not wins, covers.
Yeah,
and like I was
and
watching,
it's not even close, really.
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, these spreads remain. It seems like to me, even tonight, like the spread's like what 7 or 8.
I think
or
it's
something?
7.5.
That seems low.
Yeah.
For as much as UConn is pounding teams.
So I had read, and a lot of this gets based on the analytics guys and what they project out in their models. And like a lot of places like Ken Palm and stuff like that only see it as like a 3-point game. So the books are trying to be like, well, clearly that's not the right number, and they're moving it up. But numbers say Purdue should hang, but we've seen UConn blast teams that are supposed to hang.
Well, and I've seen it a couple times. You saw it against Illinois. You saw it against Alabama. I was watching the Alabama game, and that was a 4-point game at the half. And then coming out in the second half, like Alabama was right there, and that was it. The Nelson kid had it going a little bit, and then like out of nowhere, like UConn just kind of flips the switch, and they put their foot on the gas, and then you look up and they're up by 12, and then after that, no one has an answer for it. They're like. They build this lead and then they just throw that jab at you and you can't get any closer. And then it's starting to just feel like with 5 minutes left, you're like, well, this thing's over.
It feels like they can go on a run and then they'll just match you the rest of the game. Like they find spots in a game where they can beat you for 2 or 3 minutes. They can abuse you for 2 or 3 minutes, and then they pad a lead, and then it's like, okay, we can trade with you the rest of the way.
How many people know that Bill Murray's kid is one of their key assistant coaches?
Come again?
How many people know
UConn's?
that Bill Murray's kid is one of their key assistant coaches? We've talked about this before.
I knew that Bill Murray's kid was an assistant at Xavier. Did not know that he was there now.
No, he's at UConn.
Okay.
I had no idea.
That's why Bill Murray's always in the stands.
Oh, I can't.
And his kid, I guess he studies basketball all over the world. And so he's their offensive guy. And he's...
Yeah, that's what it says. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal. Bill Murray's son designed UConn's offense. It's no joke.
Oh, I see what they did there. Well, yeah, the way he designed his offense is he'll watch leagues from Arabia or where, all over the world and put stuff in that nobody's seen. And I guess that's how they've built their offense. Because Hurley has not, I mean, look, Dan Hurley's great. And what UConn is doing is great, but it hasn't always been like this.
So what you're saying is Hurley overrated. And
sometimes you hire good assistants that help you get to the next level, and they're saying that Bill Murray's kid is that guy,
Luke Murray,
and could be a head coach soon.
Well, I'll be damned.
Imagine that, Bill Murray coming to your games.
Yeah, well, I saw he was there. I didn't even think about that, but they showed him. Shaq was milling around in there.
Yeah, that's why Bill Murray's there for UConn.
That makes sense.
Late start. We're gonna break, and we'll talk about this later, but. The late start is ruffling a lot of feathers on the East Coast.
The East Coasters are always pissy about something.
Well, I can't blame them for this one. I mean, my God, the game starts on the East Coast at 9:20.
Yeah, but I lived in Florida. Being on the East Coast, if you've never lived there, it's an eye opener when it comes to the sports world.
And it's terrible. It's on TBS too.
Yeah, that's the other one. The men is not going to beat the women's number
because it's on TBS.
And look, the women were going to beat them anyways, but yeah. Sunday, prime time, middle of the day, Sunday, ABC versus, the East Coast. And no, especially if it's not particularly competitive, no one's staying up to watch that thing on TBS.
Hey, you got to stay up for one shining moment, dude.
Yeah, you can see that on YouTube.
I bet we'll see some Kuznard in there.
I always like to watch one shining moment live.
Me too. Yeah, I always try to stick around.
Did Buck just say, I bet we'll see some Kuznard in there?
That's right. I always get excited. Like, I mean, the Ducks are, I don't know, they're never going to win it. They've not been that close except for the 1 year. But it's always fun when your team that has really no chance, gets a little clip in there.
Yeah.
And the Ducks will.
Yeah.
I love one shining moment.
They do such a great job with it. They link up the lyrics to the different
Great.
highlights, and then like at the end, then you start getting the
Kind of goes chronologically.
yeah, and then the announcer's voice going over the music, and it's good times.
All right, John Calipari's off to Arkansas. We'll get to that coming up. But up next, it's time for our Stockwatch, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on The Fan.
It's The Fan. rights. 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
All right, well, we've got Buck back in the saddle. He was sick on Friday, or so he says.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if I'd buy it.
Suspect.
This is what I've realized the pattern of these situations. If I protest, you hammer me on the protest. If I accept, then I just say that you're right, and I can't win.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's the way we want it. Here is Buck with our Stockwatch.
All right, we're going to start in women's basketball. We're not talking Iowa, South Carolina. We're not talking men's versus women's game. What we are talking about is the all-time scoring record, and someone that Isaac may be familiar with, Lynette Woodard.
Yeah.
Who was the unofficial scoring champion before Caitlyn Clark broke her scoring record. She was the unofficial champ because the NCAA wasn't keeping record then of everything that she'd done. Here's what she had to say about Caitlyn Clark breaking her record.
I am the hidden figure, but no longer now. My record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. 43 years. I don't think, I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. And so unless you come with a men's basketball and a two-point shot, hey, you know.
Whoa.
Yeah. Saying essentially that Caitlyn Clark has not broken her record because she hasn't duplicated what she did. Because I guess she can't make a two-pointer, according to Lynette. And
well, there was no three-point line when she played,
Right.
and they played with a men's ball. They didn't have a women's ball.
So is Caitlyn Clark supposed to play inside the three-point line? Buy or sell, Lynette has any merit for an argument here.
No, she doesn't. But this is the same. Like, all old-time players do this. You know, you can't compare eras. And, you know, she has a point in that she played with a men's ball. There wasn't a three-point shot. But you could say that about college men as well.
You could say that about history, period. Like,
Exactly.
things were different then than they are now.
And I'd also like to point out to her that when she was playing, she wasn't playing against the most skilled players in the world. Like, the game of women's basketball has gotten so much better. Even for the last 20 years, the level of play across the board is ridiculously better. Even better than like when those Yukon teams were just stomping a mud hole in everybody. It used to be that Yukon just had that collection of talent and no one could even sniff them. Now it's spread out to a handful of different teams. There's more young players coming up that are more skilled than ever. The game's better than ever. So, you know, she just... And by the way, she may have said that, but she also embraces Caitlyn Clark. She went to Iowa Senior Day, and she honored her when she broke the record. No one likes having their records broken, so let her have her kind of moment. And it's kind of cool that people are acknowledging it because it wasn't even a sport. It wasn't even a sport recognized by the NCAA back then.
And that's what she's saying, that my record was hidden for all these years because
Good
no
for
one was
her.
acknowledging it. And that part's fair.
Yeah.
I think.
That's right. Yeah, that's fair. What are we buying or selling?
Whether her argument that Caitlyn Clark didn't break her record has any merit.
No, I don't think that has any merit. But I get her point.
Sure.
She is Lynette Woodard. By the way, I've dealt with her some.
Yeah.
Because she was at, I mean, she's been around KU the whole time since she played, and she is wonderful.
Cool.
And very well respected.
Nice.
So I was a little surprised to hear her say that, but I also feel like she just, you know,
Yeah, you know.
you can't take the competitor out of these. Like, she was one of the best women's basketball players ever.
Sure.
That no one talks about. And so that's probably a little grating for her. So I get what she's saying and why she may think that, but I do not think that has merit. I mean, come on.
Yeah, deals in. Babe Ruth had the home run record until they added all those games and the black people. Valid point.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, it's true. You hear that all the time. People are like, oh, Babe Ruth's the greatest ever. And people are like, yeah, well, you know, didn't have to
Did you
play.
mix in a black?
Didn't have to play against everybody. It's a valid point.
Moving on to the men's game, we obviously get the national championship game tonight. Dan Hurley and Matt Painter sat down with Andy Katz, and Hurley was asked about dealing with Zach Edey.
I just think, he's obviously, the best college player, that I've seen in terms of the impact and the production. I don't know, it's like, Ralph Sampson-esque, in terms of just how his size changes the gravity of the court at both ends of the court, the way that the roster's constructed this year around him to be either the best three-point shooting team or the second best three-point shooting team. You must have missed a couple last night because you went from 1 to 2. But just, I think, the tactics and the way that they utilize a player of his caliber.
So buy or sell that Zach Edey and Matt Painter can actually give Dan Hurley and the Yukon Huskies some trouble tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, Yukon right now is crushing people and have for 2 years, but let's not act like Purdue just plays in a soft conference and isn't any good. They were number 1 seed the last 2 years, and this is going to be the first time that Yukon actually has someone that can match their big and maybe give him problems. I mean, Edey fouls everyone out. So if the old Kling Kong in the middle there for Yukon gets in early foul trouble, absolutely Purdue can give them a run for their money. Are they? I don't know. History may say no because Yukon's just been that dominant. But again, like that UNLV team that was cruising through, they got beat. I mean, it's hard to go back to back. What's the last team to do it? What, Florida?
Yeah, 07-08 Florida.
So yeah, it's really hard. That said, I'm betting on Yukon.
Yeah, I've been saying all along teams could give Yukon a game, and they never do. But
So where do you land on this one?
I think this will be a good game tonight. And the reason I say that is because I do think Zach Edey is such a load. Like, he is dominant. Yeah. I mean, he is really, really, really freaking good. I would expect Yukon to win. There's a reason they're favored. But boy, I don't know, man. You got one of the best NCAA tournament players ever in Zach Edey. I don't think that should be overlooked. This could be a great game. I'm hoping that it's a great game.
Fingers crossed, right?
I'm with you. Moving on to the biggest news of the last 24 hours in college hoops. John Calipari leaving Lexington and headed to Arkansas. Here's what Seth Greenberg had to say on ESPN about Calipari's move.
So to me, I'm excited for John. He's not leaving Kentucky. He's actually, people want to say, well, he was afraid of it or whatever, next season. No, he's not. What he's doing is he is moving forward at Arkansas. And I think that this is going to be a great marriage, a great opportunity. I think it's going to rejuvenate him, get him excited about the process of building a program somewhere else and taking another program to the Final Four.
So it got clipped a little there on the audio, but he said he's not leaving Kentucky. He's moving forward to Arkansas. Buy or sell that Calipari going to Arkansas is an upward move.
What? Oh, God, no. I mean, come on. No offense, but I mean, Arkansas, by the way, has made 2 Elite Eights just in the last couple years.
Well, their coach just went to USC.
Exactly.
Which is so weird.
Let's not act. I mean, come on.
Is all this connected?
Yes, it is. In fact,
did Musselman know that they were after Calipari and that's why he took the USC gig?
Seth Greenberg kind of laid out this whole thing about how it all started with the fall of the Pac-12. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that there are some that are saying that yes, that is one of the reasons why that this all could be connected. And it was like, hey, Coach Cal wants to come. And
so Musselman probably would not have left, but he gets wind that Cal they're looking at Cal, and he's like, well, F you.
I've heard rumors. Or at least I have. I'm saying,
look at you.
Not me.
Inside college basketball with Jason Sakanik.
People that are in the know are saying that there could have been a factor involved in that. But Arkansas is a good program, but I was doing a bunch of reading and listening to people, and it just sounds like everyone at Kentucky was kind of done with Coach Cal.
And he was kind of done with them,
and
right?
he was kind of done with them. And that this was one of those where, both sides, this is a divorce where both sides are like, cool. Like,
they both see greener pastures probably at this point.
Well, especially if they get Dan Hurley at Kentucky.
Well, and there's some other ones. I mean,
I don't know if they can get him.
Well, Drew, I've heard his name thrown out there. I mean, look, Kentucky has all the resources you could want. They're going to land a hammer coach. I mean, there was talk that Coach Cal might be done this last year. Remember, they came out and had to make an announcement. No, he's coming back. And, this is probably for the best. But let's not act like Arkansas is a better job than Kentucky. Now, you could say that it's less pressure and less expectation and not as much, not much of a pain in the ass, but stop it. Now, next thing you know, you're going to be telling me that Iowa or Iowa State's a better job than Kansas because there's less expectations.
Take it easy.
Look, there's a reason why those blue bloods come with big paychecks because there's expectations, but it's also why everyone wants that job.
Yeah, I too would sell that. I had no idea that Arkansas had as much money as they do.
Yeah.
Now I'm reading that they're just loaded up. They got the Tyson Chicken guy.
Yeah.
They've got Jerry Jones. They've got Walmart.
Well, and apparently the Tyson Chicken guy, and not just the Tyson Chicken guy, the sons of or grandsons of the Tyson Chicken empire, apparently good friends with Cal, and they go way back.
I thought that was interesting. how many coaches are really tight with other schools' mega donors?
Yeah, that's odd, right?
That's a weird one.
A little strange.
I saw someone say online, the billionaire heir of a processed food company deciding to spend part of his fortune hiring a blue chip coach for his favorite college program is exactly what college sports is all about.
I got a buddy of mine that I played with in NFL Europe, and he's from Arkansas. Played at University of Arkansas. He's a fire chief down there in Fayetteville. And where's Walmart at? Maybe it's not
Arkansas.
Bentonville, right?
Bentonville, that's right.
Bentonville. There's a lot of villas down there, and he has always said, he goes, it is sneaky wealthy down there.
Yeah.
That like they've never they've never achieved the level of success that maybe some of the other SEC programs have. But he says that resources and money has never been a huge issue down at Arkansas.
I was reading a little bit last night that collectively the fan base might not be donating as much, but their top 20 donors have as much or more than anybody.
Yeah, they're doing fine.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get people to go to Arkansas because when you look at the competition that's around, and they do fine, but it's tough because those are swimming in deep waters.
What if Musselman now goes to Kentucky?
Shirts off in the blue moon of Kentucky. I think they can do better than Musselman.
Yeah. Well, I'd be calling Dan Hurley if I'm Kentucky, but I just don't know if they can get him out of there.
Get him out.
But if a school could, it could be Kentucky.
Yeah, why would you? Like Yukon is a blue blood. I mean, why would you leave Yukon? You've proven everything you need is at Yukon.
Stockwatch each Monday brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the news is next the Bonnie Tyler reemergence day. We will discuss the Eclipse. Here is Buck with sports.
Now,
4. It is time now on our show for In the News. I am your noted and humble newsman. Thank you. It's me, Isachi. A couple people texting in earlier. What happened to Isachi? Nothing. The rebrand is going great.
Sachi's not going anywhere.
I mean, early on it was Isaac, and let me just say, the program suffered. Just telling you.
No, Isachi the whole time. Isaac is gone. Isachi. Buried, dead. Today is Dog Farting Awareness Day.
Oh. Well,
So when dogs fart, I always love it when my dog looks at her butt.
she's not sure what happened.
She's like, what was that?
I've had two bulldogs. Both
cute.
passed the last couple years. Rest in peace, Crumb and Boole. But yeah, bulldogs especially. That was quite an experience. The big fella that I have now, he doesn't fart that much. He's not very gassy for as big as he is.
There's also National Empanada Day.
Oh, nothing wrong with a good empanada. I don't eat them very often, but you can give me a go round on one of those.
A lot of bread. Or dough.
A lot of dough, says Buck. Well, Bonnie Tyler had her day in the sun today. Literally.
No, or lack thereof.
The total eclipse of the heartland.
The Eclipse. So could we see it at all here? Like, I kind of forgot about it.
So
Well,
it was reported.
partially.
It was reported we would not be able to because of cloud cover and things
Yeah.
like that. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's some of it.
Did you see it?
No, I saw people posting photos of it after it was too late.
When was it?
Earlier today.
It was like 11,
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
somewhere like that. 10:30, 11.
10:45.
Yeah.
Now, here's something I don't understand. You're going to have to explain this to me.
Talk to me, Goose.
But they said that the eclipse will end yesterday.
What? I'm confused.
Is that a light years thing?
It will end yesterday.
So it says the eclipse may be Monday in North America, but just after an eclipsed sun rises in the Pacific Ocean, it will cross the line islands of Kiribati, where it will be April 9th, despite it being east of the international date line.
I'm not going to lie, that sounds made up.
Right?
Huh?
Apparently that means that while the eclipse was today, when it ends, it's yesterday. That's the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
makes me feel really, really dumb.
Yeah, that's
I can't begin to wrap my head around what that means.
No.
that's one of those weird technicality things. Like, it's like, hey, see you next year. New Year's. Hey.
YouTube comment saying 11:25 was peak eclipse here in Portland.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one.
Well, we were not in the path of totality.
No, we're not.
We were a couple years ago, though.
Yeah,
Remember that?
A number of years ago, yeah, I went up for that one. We sat on the on the roof and watched that. We had the little paper glasses.
It was pretty
and-
cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
yeah. Look, I'm not against the Eclipse. I just, the idea of like people spent big money to rent out
Oh, yeah.
homes and
Yeah.
I just,
Well, we talked on Friday about the Delta flights.
oh yeah,
Delta put two
Special
flights out there,
flights.
especially from special flights. One from Austin to Detroit, the other from Dallas to Detroit, and it's all, and they sold out in 24 hours. And they banked once it hit totality, or I mean, once they got up in the air, they banked the plane 30 degrees so everyone could look out and see it.
So it only cost you
4
$900 and then $900 to go back. I love how they build those on one way. Like, it was one way, but we looked. Going back to those cities all week was $900 too. It's $1,800 to
That's
fly.
pretty smart.
Yeah, because the week after that,
What are you going to do, not go home?
Yeah, the week after that, it was like $263.
Well, I tell you what, man, people pay a lot of money to see an eclipse.
I know.
They love it. Because I guess all the Airbnbs along the path of totality and all those cities were
And
rented
for big money too.
for big money. And
I mean,
they played a baseball game during a total eclipse today. First ever. Guardians, White Sox, I think.
for 2 minutes, like, is it?
It started down in Mexico today, I think, and my wife saw something that rates for Motel 6s in Mazatlan were like $1,000 a night.
Are we that desperate for
People love it.
entertainment and things to give our lives meaning that?
Well, some people like it.
I mean, I think
But
it was
more
cool.
than like a regular vacation? Like, you could put that money towards something cooler.
Well, it's the rarity of it.
yeah,
I guess.
the novelty.
I just always think about like back in the day. Imagine like, 1350. You're just cruising around like the middle of the United States or whatever, and then that thing happens. I just always wondered like what
You think it's end of days?
Well, yeah, I wonder. And then you hear from other people that are like, no, they were more advanced and they understood. But I just, to the rule guy out there on the plains or whatever, I'd be very intrigued to know like what he thought of that. Like some Aztec, did you, hey, we got to do a bunch of sacrifices because the sun disappeared in the middle of the day for a little bit. And now we have an understanding, we know what's going on. And now we spend thousands of dollars to sit on a roof for 2 minutes.
The winning Powerball ticket was sold right here in Portland, guys.
Northeast Portland.
What?
Yep.
Unbelievable.
They're saying the Plaid Pantry across from Northside Ford on Columbia.
That's the.
Is that the rumor?
That's the rumor.
Because the winner hasn't come forward yet.
He has a year, or they, he, she,
them,
they, cis, whatever.
They have a year, yeah.
They got a year.
They have to come forward. They can't stay.
Some states you have to come forward. Other states you can stay anonymous. I'm not 100% certain which one Oregon is, but you do have a year to come forward.
Well, it's the fourth largest Powerball jackpot in history, $1.3 billion. The lump sum value, $621 million.
I think I saw that the take home is about $3.25 that you actually will take home.
But I tell you, that's crazy. If I had told you on Friday, hey, the Saturday drawing winner is going to be from Portland,
everyone would go out and buy $1,000 worth of tickets.
How many tickets would you have bought?
I don't know if I would have bought 1,000, but I'll bet you I would have dropped $50. I've never spent more than I think maybe $5 to $10. If you told me that ticket was going to be sold in Portland, I would have dropped a hunk of change.
Well, aren't the odds the odds are so astronomical? You should just buy one ticket.
Yeah, and that's what this person did. Saturday, the day of the drawing,
one ticket. Is that $2?
Yeah, I think it's $2. Someone went in on Saturday, either after buying a Northside Ford or going to one of these shady jiggly rooms down there, and they walked in there, got a Gatorade and a lotto ticket, and they're now, well, I guess they're not a billionaire. They're assuming they were about to be worth $321 million richer.
Hey,
That's
we got shots fired at Cheesecake Factory.
Oh. Hey, are we going to do this or not?
Was it Baker Mayfield? Find out next on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories, brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Soto, high fly ball, down the right field line. Garcia back, on the track, up the wall, see ya! A 3-run home run for Soto. He continues to rake, and it's 6-0 Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees hammering the Marlins today, 7-0.
Isn't everybody hammer the Marlins?
And the Yankees are hammering everybody.
But when they say continues to rake, that was his first home run.
First homer, but I think his numbers are good otherwise. Like, I think he's high average, RBI, stuff like that.
The Marlins are 1-9.
Yankees 8-2.
Yeah, damn Yankees. Yeah, but how many of those? Because didn't they play them to start the year too?
I don't know. The Fan's Window into Sports brought to you by Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free right now, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years at windownation.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt.
Well, Andrew, they couldn't do it. No, they could not, Bob. The Blazers were within a earshot away of trying to track down the Hornets.
Brandon Miller
We had shots fired outside of Cheesecake Factory at Clackamas Town Center today.
Well, that's no.
Or maybe yesterday. Sorry. Yeah, someone got shot.
Ooh. Well, we had someone shot in the Gentleman Club parking lot the other day, middle of the day, and now we're getting.
Yeah, but you are
the
to
Cheesecake
expect
Factory.
that, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, if you're at a Jiggly Room at noon, look, stuff can get loose. But the Cheesecake Factory, I'm there for some orange chicken, and a slice of strawberry cheesecake. I'm not expecting to catch one in the leg. Survive, by the way. Are we all right or?
So far,
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I know that menu can be tough to decide what to order, but geez.
The menu is a bit much,
You don't
right?
have to shoot someone.
Shrink that down a little bit. Yeah, but was it outside, inside?
Yeah, it was outside. There was an altercation. This was last night, led to gunshots being fired right around 6 o'clock out there. Peak dinner time, at the Cheesy Factory.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're waiting in line. You get a little grumbly. Someone cuts in line. Next thing you know, out comes the piece.
One bullet hit the restaurant.
Ooh.
Although most customers inside didn't realize that shots were fired or what was really going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you are inside the Cheesecake Factory, you got other things going around. You know, there's some ambiance. You're concerned. Next thing you know.
You got to decide which of the 40 cheesecakes you want to order at the end of the night.
It's a lot.
That's right. I don't have time to worry about what's going on outside.
No.
I've got decisions to make.
Dim lighting and, it's like a little cocoon in there. You don't worry about it.
So they don't know what was up, but apparently there was some sort of altercation over there. Probably Baker Mayfield.
Hey,
trying to get some.
Hey, we doing this? And maybe that's what it was, is that someone stumbled upon their wife or girlfriend and, which I never quite understood that one either. It's like, hey, you're cheating on me, therefore let's end my life too. I'd love to go to prison for 40 years.
Hey, here's some good news. The Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Portland is going away finally.
That's good news?
Yes, dude. Have you been to that one?
Still got mine in Beaverton, baby.
No.
I like Buffalo Wild Wings. I do. I think they're good.
Yeah.
And they're generally pretty consistent.
Yeah, there's one.
That one downtown.
Yeah, it's right by like the Nordstrom rack and
absolutely sucks.
Thunderdome down there.
Yes, it's Thunderdome.
Well, that's what I read the thing, and they were saying that they've been begging the city of Portland, and this is the same thing that Nike said and REI. They're like, look, there's vandalism, there's crime, the homeless, our staff feels unsafe. We're begging Portland to do something. They won't. Therefore, I guess they just stopped paying rent.
Well, I used to meet a buddy of mine in there every once in a while for a beer and a wing.
Yeah.
And
just one wing?
Yeah, just one. We would order one.
Man, so you'd split two.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, we'd order one.
Oh, you'd split one?
One wing.
And in the beer also,
I'm
I
guessing
assume.
that's a boneless wing. Otherwise,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, you do a Lady in the Tramp thing? And
I like the Parmesan garlic.
It's tasty, yeah.
Can you get half Parmesan garlic on the wing and half,
That's what we
mango
do.
habanero on the other part of the wing? Same wing?
That's what we do.
I like it.
Now, do you share beer out of the same cup or do you get straws?
No, we get our own beers.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes multiple. But we got to know the guy that was always down there because there was only ever one guy down there. And he would tell us horror stories about hiring down there. Like, he can't get any good staff.
Yeah.
And you just if you go in there and just watched, you would see some mess.
Yeah.
Because, it was lawless. The Buffalo Wild Wings downtown Portland, you guys, if you've been in there, it's a pretty wild scene.
Well, I just think that area in general, for a lot of people, it's
it's stay away.
It's a little rough down there. It's been a while since I've done a Nordstrom Buffalo Wild Wings double dip down there.
I went to a place called is it Leash? That's a restaurant.
I don't know.
Down.
I think I've been. There's a Peruvian. Is that what it is?
No, it's tapas.
Okay, but is it right there by the waterfront?
Yeah,
I have been there.
It was really good.
Really good.
Yeah. Never been, and we went down there Saturday night, and that's right there by where they have Saturday market.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, and I haven't been down that way. Kells is down there, all that. Dante's, all that.
Yeah.
I hadn't been down, really spent much time in that area in a long time. It was fine.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying when we went out on St. Patty's Day.
It was not bad at all.
A lot of it's fine.
They have done a
It's
nice job.
crazy.
Now, I was at the Roseland on...
but that's a part where you would think it would be really bad.
True.
Well, I was at the Roseland on Friday, and because that's down there by the Mission and all that. Like, that's not the best area, and even that, we still had some urine smell. But yeah, it wasn't.
I love that.
It wasn't bad. It's getting better.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as you would think.
Yes, it's getting better.
And it definitely doesn't look as bad as it used to.
That being said, I understand why Buffalo Wild Wings was like, yeah, we're not doing this.
Well, and the city should have booted them a long time ago. Like I'm telling you, it was bad in there.
Well, I guess they stopped paying rent like for a while, and so Buffalo Wild Wings is saying we're leaving, and the city of Portland is saying we kicked you out.
Like this guy said, is there really anything down there? No, there really isn't. There is the mall is right there, right? Like the
Pioneer Courthouse Square Mall,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, there's the rack and
couple parking
I think
garages.
there's a Ross Dress for Less right there on the
couple
corner.
of boarded up storefronts.
Yeah. But hopefully that stuff can improve. I mean, it's not good that we have stores like REI and Buffalo Wild Wings and like big major shit. That's not a good thing for a city when those are like, yeah, we're not doing this. That's not great. And then again, it continues to be a black eye, and it makes people look down upon the city.
Okay, the Hot 5 is next. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
That is in the news for April 8, 2024. Hot 5 at 5 includes the Ducks' new running backs coach, another ace pitcher down with Tommy John surgery.
Another one. And of course, now we have to ask what are we going to do about it?
What are we going to do about it?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Preemptive bionic elbows at the age of 18.
Going to add that into your stintery.
That's right. So we'll get to all of that coming up next on The Fan.
It's time for High Stakes, a tasty look at clutch performances and the biggest games. Served up by Steakadelphia.
Perfection with a touch of sweet redemption. Undefeated South Carolina has
Souk, it's pumping.
That's pumping.
Tales of the Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown just starting to trickle in.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
I'm kind of bummed now that I didn't get a chance to experience it.
Yeah, it was a vibe.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but I love a lawless sort of vibe. Like when you walk into a place and you feel a little nervous, and yeah, there may be a shooting or two there's
and look,
the element of danger adds a little something. I'm not saying I want to be there all the time, but when you're in that environment, it does. The people watching is worth the risk.
Well, the type of establishment where, if you might have a problem with one other patron's activities and you look at the staff and they're like, I'm not paid enough to get involved in that.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got some fun on your hands.
Yeah, and I don't want to bash Buffalo Wild Wings. That is a really good chain, and they're typically very consistent.
Yeah. That one though.
That one got off the rails.
Yeah.
For them. So
you ever walk into
it's probably better for everyone that
you
it's
ever walk
closing.
into a dive bar and like they've got a room in the back, like there's like a pool table there and like the light's broken and you're not sure what's going on back there, but you're like, I'm going to post up for a while and just kind of see what happens. There's, that could be an entertaining Friday night. And I'm a little sad that I didn't get to experience the vibe that was happening down there at that Buffalo Wild Wings.
We are your sports bros. Isachi.
Sorry.
And Big Souk's right over there.
Yeah.
Joe Buck. I about called him Joe Buck.
Joe Buck.
Whoa.
Isachi. Joe Buck is back. He was sick on Fridays.
We're rebranding him as Joe Buck.
Supposedly.
Part 2.
What a bummer.
Again, no one's ever.
Wait, did he die?
No.
What, Buck?
Why'd you say a bummer?
Well, I think Joe Buck is a little bit, I don't want to be Joe Buck.
I'll be Joe Buck.
Dude.
Joe
I
Buck's
think Joe
a great
Buck's,
life.
I think he's great, too.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Good dude.
Joe Buck has
Are
a
you a Joe Buck hater?
No, I think he's
feel
an
like he's
excellent
a hater.
broadcaster, but he seems like a stiff. I don't have the same Joe Buck vibes. I don't know
I
about that.
disagree. I think he's probably pretty fun when he lets what's left of his hair down.
And I've got an axe to grind. He grabbed the @Buck Twitter handle before I was able to, right around the same time. Yeah.
And therein lies the
Yes.
real disdain for Joe Buck. Well, anyway, we've got the Isaac and Souk Drop Bracket Challenge Final Four.
I don't think we're allowed to say that.
Finishing four.
There you go.
We're going to tell you who the finishing four are because the voting occurred over the weekend.
Here's the situation.
And we're going to throw up the final two matchups on Twitter here next segment.
And the winner gets T-shirts.
Yeah, that's right. We're down to the last. So the two winners, the each regionals winner.
Yeah.
So the next two games are for T-shirt status.
It's a big deal.
John Calipari off to Arkansas. We'll talk about that this hour. Coming up in the club tonight, what would you do if you ran into Alex Jones at a tiki bar?
Wouldn't that be something?
And, well, we had more parts falling off a plane, so that's cool.
No, that seems to be kind of just, it's like a Tuesday now, right?
And a real-life Ocean's 11.
Oh, even better.
That's a pretty cool story. I don't know if you saw that.
Color me interested.
No, I haven't. But that is one of
Biggest
the
cash heist in U.S. history.
That is 100%. Like if there were no repercussions, Groundhog Day or whatever, I would 100% participate in a heist. Who doesn't want to heist something at some point and see if you could get away?
That'd be a really fun thrill if there were no consequence.
Yeah, and like I'm not interested. I don't want to shoot anyone, nor do I want to be shot. But like, Ocean's 11, no one dies. It's some sort of clever. It's like the A-Team. Yeah, there's a bunch of threats of violence and explosions or whatever. No one gets hurt. It's just like things go boom and then you walk out with a bunch of money. When in real life, usually a couple of people get capped.
All right, it's time now for the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Souk.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Souk. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
The Oregon Ducks have a new running backs coach, stealing Arizona State receivers coach Rashad Samples.
Sure. So we can go look at the production of the Arizona State receivers yards after catch and equate that to the Oregon backs.
Nay, we can look at his recruiting record and say he's
Yeah.
going to bring some dudes.
There you go.
They're saying he is a hammer recruiter. He is 29. He is a top recruiter with deep ties in Texas. His dad is actually the head coach at Duncanville High School in Texas.
There you go.
Sun Devils coach Kenny Dillingham said Samples is ready to be a head coach right now.
Simply because he can recruit?
Well, I guess he's no Dillingham. I mean, Dillingham says he's got everything. He's like he is a head coach. He is ascending
head
to
coach
head coach status. He is only 29, so he's got obviously he's got some stepping stones. But
I don't think he can go from running backs coach to head coach. But
these guys think highly of him. So Rashad Samples is now the Ducks' new running backs coach. And in other Ducks news, offensive lineman Michael Wooten has entered the portal.
Who?
Number 4.
The ratings are in for the women's NCAA tournament finale between South Carolina and Iowa.
They're a big
boy.
Yeah.
18.7 million viewers.
Peaked at almost 24.
Girl, you something else.
Yeah.
That's up 89% from a year ago. That's put that in perspective. That is the same number as the Washington-Texas college football playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
That's huge.
Caitlyn Clark, and look, women's basketball has been getting more attention lately over the last couple of years, but Caitlyn Clark is just a force multiplier. Like, she did that, 12 million in that LSU game, and we thought, does it go down from there? Each round, it just went up. And then, of course, the South Carolina story, and good for women's basketball. Hopefully they can keep building on that, but that's one of those that I hope there's some realistic expectations, because you're not going to duplicate those numbers anytime soon. That's just a massive, massive audience. Well, we both watched.
I watched some of it. I was glued to the golf.
Dude, Valero Open?
The Valero Open finish was bananas.
And yet it was the Valero Open, so no one cared.
But it was awesome. Do you want to know about it? Okay, so a guy by the name of Denny McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
Shoots a 28 on the back nine to tie. Come back and tie, because this Batia kid, this lefty, this 22-year-old lefty, he was up the whole. I mean, he was up by like 5 or 6 shots, dominating the field. McCarthy shoots 28, catches him. Batia makes a putt on 18 to force a playoff. Fist pumps, hurts his shoulder. So they go to
fist pumping.
Yes.
Fist pumping like champs.
So they go to the playoff. Denny McCarthy, he has birdied 7 straight holes, and he chili dips it right into the water. Meanwhile, Batia has to go get naked and tape his shoulder up. There's a timeout in golf. He makes birdie. It was all hell breaking loose.
Hold on, was this a one-man no contact injury on the fist pump?
Yes, he went like this, and his
dude, come on.
but he still won.
Lamest thing to happen to an athlete on the way to a victory.
By the way,
it's like when Grammatica blew out his knee jumping.
Purdue Yukon NCAA tournament men's championship game is tonight. 6:20 tip, so we still have to wait another hour.
I know. And it's on TBS, for God's sakes, and
crazy.
HBO.
Let's see. Another ace bites the dust. Over the weekend, Guardians starter Shane Bieber, who had been pitching really well in his first couple outings this year, he is now going under the knife with Tommy John surgery. And now we have learned that Astros ace Framber Valdez has been scratched from his next start with the dreaded elbow soreness.
So now we're getting the epidemic here. What can be done about it? Why is this happening? Well,
they all throw gas.
Well,
at all times.
There seems to be like a never-ending array of different opinions. But yeah, I do think that,
I mean, those guys back in the 1930s had it figured out. Tossing salad.
Well, it does feel like when we were growing up, like throwing in the 90s was a big deal. Everyone throws in the 90s, and in the high 90s at that.
The Mariners, by the way, they've lost 6 of their first 10. They are already losing in Toronto 1-0 in the second. Pointing that out.
Hey, just trying to win 54% of the games, right?
Number 1.
And number 1, John Calipari. It is still not official, but he appears to be finalizing a 5-year deal to leave Kentucky for Arkansas.
Imagine if he comes out and is like, sorry, just fooling.
Did you see the news reporter that went to his house and caught him on a walk? They were like, hey, do you have anything to say to Kentucky fans? He's like, no, not now.
I have a really hot take about, well, it's not a really hot take, but there is something about that video. Have you seen that video?
No, I have not.
Well, he's walking his dog, apparently. Dude, something about that whole thing blows me away. And we're going to get to that in our John Calipari segment.
Who would have thought, though, that John Calipari, if you go back 15 years ago when he took that job at Kentucky, wins a national title, was the biggest name in college basketball at the time, that he eventually would leave for the Arkansas job.
I know, it's really weird, but apparently, well, we'll get into it. He knows the Tyson chicken guy, and I think it sounds like Kentucky and he were kind of on the outs anyway.
Yes.
Also, Arizona loses big man Umar Ballo, if I'm pronouncing that right. 7-footer, average 13 and 10. He will most certainly be one of the most sought-after bigs in the transfer portal. He is transferring out of Arizona.
By the way, is John Calipari walking his dog in a baby stroller?
We'll get to it.
Whoa.
The Hot 5 at 5 is brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. We have the Drop Bracket Challenge finishing 4 results coming up next for you. It is 5:13 on the Fan.
A college gridiron reset.
It is called
All right, it is time to reveal the finishing four in the Isaac and Suk Drop Bracket Challenge. Whoa. The bracket can be viewed at 1080thefan.com. Started with 32 drops. The final two, each regional champ gets its own T-shirt.
Available for purchase at a affordable price at some future website.
So the Awesome 8, I don't know. We had the voting over the weekend on X at 1080 The Fan, and here are the results. Are you ready?
I am ready.
What?
We had Rockin' You on a Friday.
It's a classic.
Going up against
Rockin' You on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Which I think is one of the favorites in the tournament.
Well, and again, it makes a great T-shirt.
And that went up against Dave Bartu's Rop is an Idiot.
Rop is an idiot.
Look, and I know people love that, but come on, Rockin' You on a Friday, right? It's got to move on.
And the winner, Rockin' You on a Friday, why did I say that? 58% to 42%. So that drop is the first of our four finalists. Okay.
And by the way, like, there's no easy matchups, but come on. That's the Rockin' You on a Friday is a juggernaut cruising towards a T-shirt.
So far, I'm encouraged that the listeners took this seriously.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a favorite is not a drop of you and I, but it is of Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Can you guys shut up?
It's the Chip Kelly shut up, side mouth shut up.
Yes.
That
he's talking to his own players there. He was doing some interview and he thought his players were being loud.
That went up against the drop that is known as Little Girl's Toilet.
Yeah.
Should I go right? Should I go left? Damn it. How do I get in that little girl's toilet?
I do love the little girl's toilet.
Now, this was very close.
Yeah. Nail biter, huh?
By a 52 to 48 margin.
Oh, my gosh.
The drop that advances to our semifinals is...
Should I go right? Should I go left? Damn it. How do I get in that little girl's toilet?
Look, I can't disagree. I can't. I mean, I love Chip Kelly. I love the shut up, but come on. And it's only right out of the ROP bracket that it's two ROP drops.
Yeah, so now in my regional, you've got Rockin' You on a Friday against Little Girl's Toilet.
I don't know what
That is a heavyweight battle.
I have said all along that the Little Girl's Toilet, to me, is my favorite coming out of that region. But if we're talking T-shirt, the Rockin' You on a Friday is a better shirt. I think that the Little Girl's Toilet is a better drop. But the T-shirt, I can see it. Rockin' You on a Friday, ... Why did I say that? Asachi. So it just comes down to, do you like the drop, or are we thinking moving merch?
Okay. Now to the other two finalists, or the semifinalists. We have The Era Has Become.
The Era Has Become.
From the Suk Regional, going up against I Would Like to Know Things.
I would like to know things.
Which that is all in the delivery.
Yeah. And it should be the winner of that should be I'd Like to Know Things.
Would we put ellipses on that shirt?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. You gotta have some pause.
So the final here, 60% to 40%. The winner, I would like to know things.
Like to know things.
The listeners are getting this right.
They are.
There's a lot of chalk in this tournament right here.
Okay. And then the last semifinalist, it's either the very classic Big Suk Football's Football.
Football's football.
It is.
Because we have a lot of footballs.
A lot of football.
Yeah, football's football.
Football is football.
Athletics is athletics.
You kind of
like
Football's
whatever
football.
it is you like.
And we know that football, the best part of football is football. Therefore, you have to do football.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
God, I love that.
So it's that against what I believe to be a classic.
Mm-hmm.
My son is an idiot.
Very poignantly stated, my
Yes.
son is an idiot.
Yes. I don't even remember what exactly
Emphatic.
what I was referencing there, but
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyone with a son can relate to
Now,
that.
this was the biggest blowout of the
Really?
8 of the 4 matchups.
Really? Is it My
yes.
Son's an Idiot?
And the winner and final representative in this, I got a lot to navigate here. In the semifinals is
My son is an idiot.
Cut the tension with a knife there.
I know. Well, I'm trying to navigate like 8 pages of drops here.
Too many drops.
Lots of scrolling.
Now it's been whittled down.
So there you go. The Isaac and Suk drop bracket challenge. We are down to the Fantastic Four. It is rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Going up against Little Girl's Toilet.
Should I go right? Should I go left? Damn it. How do I get in that little girl's toilet?
And then in the Suk regional, we have
My son is an idiot.
going up against.
I would like to know things.
I don't know where that goes.
It's tough.
I don't know. I have heard from several people say that they are desperate to get their hands on a "My son is an idiot" shirt.
See, I think the Suk bracket is going to be very close. I feel like if people are voting for the shirt, I think rocking you on a Friday is going to win.
But do we put why did I say that in
Yes.
I think you have to.
after the
I think so.
It is rocking you on a Friday, and then below it in parentheses.
Why did
I mean, that's the essence of the drop.
It makes the whole drop. The instant regret of the rocking you on a Friday. Oh my god.
It's like shame.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw those up on Twitter. We're going to, at the next break, I'm going to put those on Twitter, and I'm going to leave those up for a couple of days. And then before I go off to the Masters on Friday,
we'll have a winner, right?
We will have 2 winners.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they want us to pit the final 2.
No.
Final 2.
No, I think we're going to provide a ROP and a Suk shirt. I think.
No, I know that, but do we still want to see which
guess.
of the
Pit them
2
head to head.
wins?
One drop to rule them all, kind of a
I think
one ring sort of thing. Yeah, I can see that.
I think we should.
Yeah, crown a champ. And
Now,
then
will
see
that
what
ruin your
happens.
chemistry? Will create some locker room tensions.
It could. It very well could.
Let's heat it up. Let's go.
But I got to be honest with you. If now I would be, I'll just say, can I give my opinion on the tournament?
Yes, absolutely.
If I would like to know things wins, I'm going to be upset. No offense.
Yeah.
My son is an idiot. Now that's great. And I do think Little Girl's Toilet and Rocking You on a Friday is a toss-up. I think, but I would like to know things is a wonderful drop.
Yeah.
Little bit of it. I mean, that's our Cinderella.
Yeah, it is.
In the Final Four here.
Well, like I said, we didn't think it was going to go this far. And I think because on its own, it really is a delivery thing because it's we didn't think that was one of the true classics.
Well,
and yet here we are.
You sound so sad.
Like I really thought
I
that
would like to know things.
I really thought that the golf thing would have,
right.
Like that's one that I'm a little surprised got bumped.
Yeah, they got upset.
Yeah.
So you can see the whole bracket at 1080thefan.com. It is brought to you by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. So we'll circle back to that on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, where was I? Oh, Zach Edey, real quick. So the Purdue Yukon game still has not started.
No.
And still will not for another hour.
It is 8:30 on the East Coast. On the East
Somewhere
Coast.
Mad Dog Russo is having a absolute aneurysm over this right now.
Did you see that Edey, because he's Canadian,
can't make any money?
He does not have any NIL money coming in?
I guess it's not an NCAA rule. It's a federal
Visa.
law.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't.
He's on a certain visa that won't allow
probably
him
like
to-
a student
He's
visa
on a
where it's like
student
you're not here to
visa,
make money.
therefore
You're here
he
to
can't
go to
make
school.
money. Yeah, and he
And
says he's bitter about it, and he said he can't even.
He should be bitter about it. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, he said he can't even think about it. He doesn't want to talk about it because the money that he's missing out on.
Too depressing.
And this is the thing with Zach Edey too. And I've said this about a lot of players, and I think this is true for a lot of the women as well. They will never make more money than right now. Like Zach Edey is probably not going to be a big time NBA player.
Like this might have been his cash
This
cow.
was his cash cow. If he was allowed to, he would have probably cashed in to the tune of $4 or $5 million over the last couple of years total. I'm not certain he's making $4 to $5 million in the NBA. That guy could be playing overseas in 6 months. And that absolutely sucks for that young man.
Yeah, they said DJ Burns, the kid from NC State, is well into 6 figures just in the last 3 weeks in marketing deals.
Gosh.
And so you think Edey,
2-time National Player of the Year, he would be.
Yeah.
And as big as he is, and he's got a decent personality, he would have made a couple mil. And that sucks. I think there was some loophole that maybe when he's been able to make a little bit, maybe it's when he's up in Canada. Is like there's something where he said he's been able to strike a couple deals, but it's very, very
Like
small.
maybe Canadian companies want to pay him
Something
for his
like that.
likeness.
Yeah.
Did you see? So this NC State run, Burns, he's the big fat kid for NC State.
Yeah.
He just recently had agreements with Adidas, Barstool Sports, CVS Pharmacy, DAPS, Manscaped, Raising Cane's, and Intuit TurboTax.
Jeez.
All just from this run.
Yeah.
In
Good for him.
3-4 weeks.
I think that's right. And I know everyone, transfer portal and NIL, everybody gets all pissy, but that's a cool thing is when you make a run now, you profit off of it. Because the NCAA used to flash that dude's image up every 6 seconds to make money. I'm glad that he can capitalize on it.
And he's another guy probably not playing much ball at the pro level unless overseas.
Yes. So good for him for putting his foot in the cash register. And like I said, the women too, right? Like some of these women are making more money than the male counterparts. They're huge deals. The sponsorship deals that some of the big time women get. It's good for everybody.
All right. Well, we'll just sit and wait for them to start playing. But it's kind of good for us because then we get to, if it's a good game, I get to watch it at home.
Yeah.
All right.
Until then,
next.
I got Pittsburgh, Toronto in this vicious tilt. Hey, there's only a couple games left, and the Red Wings are hanging on to their playoff lives right now. This NHL season is coming down to the wire, and I need you to get on board.
I am not on board.
Hockey Town versus everybody, right?
That's right. No one believes in all the Stanley Cups that they've won. Let's go.
So, hey, go to Twitter. I'm going to throw them up right now at the break. We're going to get the semifinals, the drop bracket votes going. So I'll throw those up there. Whoa. And then when we come back, we'll talk about John Calipari off to Arkansas and him walking his dog in a stroller. It is 5:29. Here's Buck.
Now, from the fans.
John Calipari is leaving Kentucky.
Yeah, and
he's going to Arkansas.
Even though it's not official, but it's official.
Well, we don't know yet.
Technically.
I think at this point it's a little awkward. Like, if he doesn't go to Arkansas, I don't think he can come back to Kentucky.
We think.
And it sounds like, by all accounts, I was kind of reading through it, just kind of sounds like both sides just kind of, this is for the best. Kentucky had become disenfranchised with Coach Cal not having success in March. Coach Cal felt underappreciated by his time at Kentucky. And just a guy that at one point it seemed inconceivable that he would ever leave there. It just, well, it's time to be done.
He's also buddies with the Tyson Chicken Bro.
Yeah, who apparently
and he's
are
an
gonna
Arkansas donor.
Throw him I believe the official term is a buttload of cash.
Well, I mean, it's a weird move because usually when you guys get to Kansas or North Carolina or Duke or Kentucky, that's
that's it.
You're not going to improve.
And if you do leave Kentucky, it would be for another true blue blood. And Arkansas is a fine program. The last couple of years, they made 2 Elite Eights. It's just under no circumstances would anyone think that anyone would leave Kentucky for Arkansas. But when you consider 15 years, 6 SEC titles, 1 national championship, all the NBA players, is it fair to say that he underachieved?
Oh, well.
It just depends what you consider achievement. Calipari's been banging the drum forever about just getting kids to the NBA and getting kids their career start. And if he's measuring that as success, then sure. But if your job was to go and win a bunch of basketball games, you did that too, but maybe not to the degree people expected.
It's such a weird thing that he hangs his hat on. Like, you go out and you get like these 5-star kids and somehow, and by the way, they're on your campus for like 4 months, 5 months. How are you taking credit for getting kids to the NBA? Right? Like, it's some of those kids that go there, they don't even start at Kentucky. And yet somehow Calipari's like, yeah, we lose in March, but I get these kids to the NBA. Do you? Or are you just a babysitter until they get to the NBA? Like, that's just a weird flex that he holds up all the time.
Does he?
Yes.
He leaned into that.
He leans into that
That
all
is
the
that
time.
is his thing.
Yes.
That is his, like.
Well, I know he definitely leaned into that at first. I didn't know he was still doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I think especially as the success in the tournament has dwindled, that he doubles down on
But
that.
you also have a unique scenario here where Kentucky was done with him and he was kind of done with Kentucky, but they didn't want to fire him because they know he's good, and it's like, it's $32 million to buy him out. So he basically saved him $32 million by leaving as opposed to them firing him.
Yes.
And it didn't seem like he was going to last long there. Now, then you couple that
some
with
chicken money.
yeah, with the Tyson Chicken guy, which I think it's weird that Calipari is close friends with another school's mega donor. Like, is Phil Knight buddies with Ryan Day?
Well, actually, yeah. Phil is in the Ohio State locker room a bunch. They say that outside of Oregon, one of Phil's favorite teams is Ohio State. He puts
so maybe he is friends with Ryan.
That's a big deal.
Well, in that one, maybe Phil not the best because I mean Phil's the Nike guy, so there's all these
Yes.
Nike coaches, Nike universities. It'd be like if you were tight with T. Boone Pickens or something like that. It's like what do you have?
Yeah.
What, interest in oil? Like what are we talking about?
Is he dead, T. Boone? He's dead.
I think he's dead. But the point being, a chicken guy is different than being the Nike apparel guy.
That's definitely true. But, Arkansas lost Eric Musselman to USC.
Yeah.
Of all.
Well, and there's some whispers that maybe that was kind of one of the reasons why he was looking for greener pastures too, is that maybe Coach Cal when you know that your biggest booster, the chicken money, is like best friends with John Calipari, and there's rumors that Cal's unhappy and Musselman's sitting around. Maybe that's one of the reasons. At least it's been speculated. I've read it. That's one of the reasons. Like, I don't want to be. You don't want to be in a marriage where, by the way, Musselman did a nice job at Arkansas. Again, 2 Elite Eights. Like, he's done a nice job there. They got a new arena, and you feel like you're bringing home the bacon. You feel like you're keeping yourself in shape. Meanwhile, your wife is looking at someone else and is like, hey, that may be an attractive. I can see where that leads you to be like, let's get out of here and go to California.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of different now. Like, the NIL thing in football certainly upset the apple cart, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a Power 5 Big Ten head coach go to be a Big Ten offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Because of that.
And that's a unique situation doing that. yeah, Chip and UCLA. I mean, that was kind of the same thing. Like they were done with each other, and Chip hated UCLA.
Right, but I'm just saying, like that never would have happened years ago. It's the NIL thing that's really changing the paradigm, and that's true in college too. It's about NIL money. Like when you think about this, the SMU, the SMU and Arkansas jobs should tell you everything you need to know. Like that those jobs are both about NIL money. They both have big time donors at those programs, and those are the two programs that stole the two coaches that they wanted. Like SMU wanted Enfield.
Yep.
So Arkansas's coach leaves to go to USC because SMU plucked USC's coach, and then Arkansas plucks Kentucky's coach. Like this is backwards.
It's like
SMU is like leading this charge.
Well, it's reverse engineering a massive coaching position.
Well, the most insane thing in this whole thing,
but it's about NIL money because those two schools have big time donors.
Yes, the most amazing thing about this whole thing, to me, is what you said about SMU. And remember, if you want to know how different college sports is, think about everyone fighting for a chance to get into a Power 5 conference, right? Think about what Oregon State and Washington State right now would do to get into the Big 12 and the ACC. SMU went to the ACC and was like, we don't need any money. None. They're like, what was that, $34 million a year? Yeah, we don't need a dime of it, and we don't need it for like 10 years. And they're like, come again? And they're like, we've got money. Like, who cares? Like, if you've got money now and you've got donors that are willing to pony up, it is the end all to be all right now. And because
that's what those two schools show.
Because not only can you pay for coaches, but you can pay for players now. And there is a belief, like under the olden days, you know, the SMUs, the Arkansas, whatever. Like, yeah, you
like
could have
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago. You could have money and you could try to throw it at boosters and you know, you try to throw it at kids and you could do a little here and a little there. Like Ole Miss certainly tried this like Ed Ogeron, but there was only so much you could do. Now that you can be out and about and open about it, there is a belief now that as long as you get a couple mega donors, the sky's the limit. The gloves are off.
At Arkansas, you have Walmart too.
Yes.
So you have Walmart, you have Tyson Chicken, you have Jerry Jones.
Yes. A lot of big money. And we'll see over here. And by the way, also now, and at least in college basketball, two things. One, I read an article today where they were saying that there could be in the next couple years, you could see a shift in some programs, even in SEC country, from people wanting to be affiliated with the basketball program or the football programs to basketball.
Yeah.
Because of the influence you can wield. Like, let's say I'm a booster and I want to kick in $5 to $10 million a year, right? Good chunk of money. In football, that buys me 2 to 3 players and really not
on a massive roster.
Yes, and not a world of influence. In the world of college basketball, that can mean everything. I can be a much bigger deal in basketball with a lot less of an investment and feel like I am more involved. And they are saying that because of that, look at A&M, right? A&M spent $25 million on that roster for football, and it got them nothing other than firing Jimbo Fisher. So you get a place like Arkansas or SMU, and it's like, whoa. Like, that's all we need. We need $15, $20 million a year to come up to buy one of the best rosters in basketball. And they're saying now with Kentucky, that model kind of it doesn't work anymore. The one and done, you can actually grow and develop a program and pilfer the transfer portal. You could be entering a new era of basketball where you could see some of these programs really rise up and in the next couple of years start having success that never thought possible at these schools.
Pretty interesting. Who does Kentucky go and get? I know Nate Oates is a name that's out there. He's the Alabama coach.
Yeah.
I did see a few scribes saying, hey, you got to at least check in with Jay Wright, and I think that is true.
I think that was like Colin said that. He had the you back the truck up to Jay Wright's house and you don't leave until he forces you out. Like
I think that's right.
Make him because imagine Jay Wright and what he did at Villanova, building programs without one and done kids. And now put him in Kentucky with the resources there. In theory, you would think that is like holy hell. Like that's the best thing that you could hope for.
I doubt anybody can get him out of retirement, but if anybody could, it might be a program like Kentucky.
Yeah.
So you talk to him. Billy Donovan's name popping up a little bit.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
Where is
he's in the NBA. Coaches for the
He was in Oklahoma City, but
Well, the Bulls maybe used to be the Bulls. Now he's at I don't know. He's in the NBA.
I'm finding it.
I'm not looking it up.
searching. Yeah,
The
Chicago
Bulls.
Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls.
The Bulls.
Boy, I could not have told you that.
He's a hell of a college
He's been
coach.
there since 2000. I
I
had
know.
no idea.
And the
Oh no,
Baylor-
he hasn't been there since 2000.
2000 to present.
2000.
Wait, what? No, Billy Donovan? No,
Yeah.
no,
I'm looking at his
Wrong.
his resume right
Yeah,
now.
I remember.
no.
Yes.
He was at Florida in 2006 and 7 when they won back-to-back championships.
It's 2020.
Oh, he said
2020.
2000.
Oh, I meant 2020.
You
Did I
said
say
two-
2000? Okay.
Yes.
No, I meant 2020.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So he's been with the Bull, but he was with Oklahoma City.
Yes, that's where I remembered Oklahoma City, and I was like, oh yeah, but
He was there for 6 years.
And then the
Oklahoma
Baylor coach, Drew, is the other one that
Scott Drew.
Scott Drew.
So I have the odds
Pearl.
for some of these guys.
Yeah. What are the who's the odds on favorite?
Odds on favorite is Scott Drew, even money.
Okay. Why? He's done a good job.
Why don't I
but-
just bring back what's
Smaller
old,
buyout.
What's old vampire? We bring Rick Pitino's ass back.
Rick Pitino, third best
Ooh.
odds, 7-1.
Would they dare?
It'd be phenomenal.
Kentucky, I think, could give a damn about people's past. They just want to win basketball games.
Well, and he
Like,
won titles there.
Yes, he did.
Ooh, that's interesting. I wonder if he would go back there.
Oh,
I would imagine he would.
You telling me because he said recently that if he could do it all over again, he would have never left Kentucky. You think he's staying at St. John's? Stop it.
Well, I'm not saying he's staying at St. John's. I'm just saying that. I don't know what I'm saying. You're right. He would certainly go. I just wonder if they could do that.
Don't know. I mean, he's old as dirt. Would you want? I mean,
I think it would.
the BYU guy, Pope's name is thrown around out there.
Fifth best odds at 10-1.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah, done a nice job at BYU. He needs to be a little more seedy and under. You got to play in big
Dude,
boy land.
Honor code, bro.
Where's Dan Hurley? They can't make
So
a run at Dan Hurley?
Here's the thing: these big names,
Why would you go?
not as good odds as you might think. Bruce Pearl, Will Wade, Penny Hardaway, Dan Hurley, and Jay Wright, all 25-1.
Penny Hart, get out of here.
That's 50% stupid.
I would agree with that.
Let's look and see what Dan Hurley makes. Ooh, oh well.
What's he make?
If you're gonna pull him out, that may be.
Well, he's about to get a huge raise.
I was gonna say,
but
That's
what's he make?
1.2.
Also,
what?
That's what it says here.
Calipari's making what?
8.5
at Kentucky.
At Kentucky.
Oh,
right?
dude, you can get Dan Hurley then.
What are the Yukon
better
pockets
s-
like? Like, what are their donors like?
I don't
Do
know.
they have
but
enough?
They better step it up. That dude's out of there. Oh my God.
Something tells me he's about to get a massive, and I mean massive payday. Well, before last year, what the hell, what was he doing?
They didn't give him a raise after last year?
I'm looking here to see if
He
that.
won the title for.
There's no way they just let him sit at 1.2.
He's making more
right?
than- he's gotta be
There's
making
no way. I guarantee after you win that, you're like, excuse me. Oh, yeah. So after he won last year, yeah, he was 1.2, and then they put in a bunch of incentives and bonuses, and they're saying his total pay this year brings it up to, with all, boy, it seems kind of convoluted, but they're saying that total payout if he wins everything, $5 million.
Yeah, all right. Still, $8.5 million is a lot more than 5.
Yeah, so after last year, with some incentives and stuff, roughly 6 years, 32.
632.
Yeah,
So
6 for
okay.
32. Which
Well, they're going to have to bump that up.
Something tells me after he wins another one, like, hey, that contract he just signed? I would like to have that torn up, and let's go back.
Yeah, I don't know why Kentucky wouldn't make a run at him, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Isn't it nice to win a national title and go from making 1.2 to making 5 and whatever?
I bet it is, but I wouldn't know.
Yeah, me neither. But instantly, you're just like, as you're winning, you're celebrating like your agent's just doing handsprings. Like how long before the agent calls the powers that be there?
I always think about that with caddies of guys who come out of nowhere and are about to win.
Yeah.
I always look at their caddy and just go, dude, that guy's like, come on, dude.
And you have
come
zero
on.
control over the moment.
Come on. Yeah. Well, you have a little bit. Like you could.
Well,
help
I
him.
mean, once he's standing over his putt,
But
there's nothing you
yes,
can do.
You're just sitting there, you mother effer, you better make this putt.
I even wonder about him when a guy's slipping from 6th to 10th and the pays scale's going way down. You're like, dude.
Well, we're burying the lead with Calipari. Look, I have so much wrong with this video that came out of him today.
Yeah, we need to discuss this.
Dude, first of all, he did that S on purpose.
You think he's doing bits?
I do think he's doing bits.
Think he's trying to get Kentucky to fire him.
So he just throws on a Kentucky pullover and happens to be talking on the phone, pushing a stroller right down the middle of a busy, like on the sidewalk of a busy street.
I feel like Suk might be onto something here. If he can get fired, he gets more money out of it, maybe?
Well, he gets fired. They owe him it's a massive buyout.
Right.
And the real question is, what the hell are you doing pushing your dog in a stroller? What is the point? 550 on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics.
Okay, so I'm rewatching the Zapruder film of John Calipari walking his dog.
Yeah.
We go to frame by frame yet?
If you can call it a dog. I mean,
it's a little dog.
It's
but
like a Buckley dog. It's embarrassing
Whoa!
for a man to own that dog,
Whoa!
and yet he owns it.
I'm sure
bringing
it's-
Posey in here. It's going to be wonderful.
I'm sure it's his wife's dog. But okay, so he's also pushing a stroller. So I owe John Calipari an apology because I did not see the part of the video where the dog is actually walking.
Yeah, because at the end, the dog is behind him, but it's not on a leash or anything. And this happens in my old person neighborhood a lot, is the stroller is along with the dog, and the dog will eventually end up in the stroller.
In the stroller.
Yes.
Okay,
But they let it out occasionally
that-
to waddle around.
That to me is really dumb.
Yes.
Just walk less. Like why or maybe it's that, hey, I want to go on a 2 or 3 mile walk. My dog can't go that full distance, so we'll push the dog part of the time. Okay, so
that would be my guess.
Some of this makes sense. I get it. Okay. So Calipari, the day after he is announced to be going to Arkansas, throws on a Kentucky pullover and walks his dog in his ritzy neighborhood in, I assume, Lexington there.
Yeah.
And
or some suburb of it.
And he expects, like, dude, remember when he said, when he got the job there, he said that he cut down a tree in his front yard.
And it was front page news
and it
of
made the
paper.
news. And he was like, dude, that's when I knew it was different here at Kentucky. Yeah. You don't think he knows what he's doing going out for a stroll? And by the way, he's talking on the speakerphone on his phone.
Yeah.
That was a bit.
Yeah, he's doing bits.
He's testing the Kentucky public.
He knows the shame and scorn is coming his way.
Yeah, I wonder what he was doing there.
I don't know. Well, the fact that you have a dog stroller is all you need to know. John Calipari owns a dog stroller.
Well, look, I'm sure that most of that is the wife's doing.
I don't care.
And he has to, and he's got his little walking shoes on.
It's not acceptable.
Some years ago, ESPN did like an Inside Access series on Kentucky and Calipari specifically. And I remember a bit where like he was taking a private jet to go see a recruit, and he was bringing a salad in a Tupperware container made by his wife that he said he'd get killed if he didn't bring it back, and it cost like 25 cents. So
Yeah,
like
she wanted it
there's
back.
something like that going on there for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on.
No, I've never pushed a dog in a stroller.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, when you have a small dog, that is not the guy's choice. Like, that's the wife's dog, and you walk it, and you have to do the things that the wife wants you to do with it. That's just it's your lot in life. Yeah. Sometimes you have to pay $10,000 to get the damn thing opened up and have crap pulled out of it that it ate.
Have you ever pushed Molly Two Poops in a stroller?
No, of
Would
course
you
not.
push Molly Two Poops in a
No,
stroller?
I'd be like, why are we pushing her in a stroller?
What about
that's not a walk?
What about a radio flyer? What about one of those little wagons?
No, I've seen it before. There's somebody in our neighborhood. Their dog had I don't know. I think it was sick or couldn't walk or something, and they were pulling it in one of those red wagons. And it, like I get it. You want to get some fresh air. Maybe you even want to get the dog the fresh air. But that is not a walk when the dog is not walking.
We have an epidemic of fat people that can't walk, and now dogs. And like I understand that, like if you've got a bulldog, but that little dog can't walk, it's a dog.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Well, what are we doing if we're breeding dogs that can no longer walk?
Well, maybe it's old.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, it looks like it's moving like kind of an old dog would. It's not going fast.
Yeah.
And he has it off the leash, which means it probably is old because those old dogs are they kind of limp beside you.
Let me just say this too. I got an issue with that right there.
No leash.
I hate, and it's always the rat ass little dogs like that the owner thinks it can be off leash, and that little dog always causes problems. Always. Like if someone, like no one be allowed to like walk a Rottweiler off leash, but that little rat is allowed to be off leash.
I'll tell you what, it's
and
funny.
That little rat is the one that causes problems.
It's funny you say that. Right down the street from our neighborhood, in our neighborhood, from our house where I walk, Molly Tenji's.
Yeah.
There is a Rottweiler that lives in this house, and it is off leash, and
gosh.
it guards that house, and it is terrifying. Like I have stopped.
That's not good.
I've stopped going down that road. At one point, she, and I know it's a she because her teats were flapping around.
Yeah, the power teats.
She came running at it. She came charging at Molly and I once. It was terrifying. Like she was barking. She ended up pulling up like A lot of them do. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But I literally picked Molly 10 G's up.
Yeah, you got no choice.
And was like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen here, but we're about to get mauled by a Rottweiler. And that thing, when it's behind sometimes it's behind the fence.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah. When it's behind the fence, it barks at you as if it's going to bite your face off.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable.
So then the other day, I'm walking down towards that street. I've stopped going down that street, but Molly likes to smell around some stuff like right at the beginning of that street. So I let her go over there and sniff. And there I see that freaking Rottweiler just wandering across the street.
It's unbelievable.
And luckily that thing didn't see us. Yeah. I just turned around and went the other way. But dude, you're right. That is no joke.
It is just, it's so irresponsible. It's so ridiculous. I know that is one of my great pet peeves. Like,
just put your dog on a leash.
Exactly.
And the reason being is you just don't know how other dogs react. Like, not everybody has a friendly dog. Like,
exactly.
That's exactly. It is a huge pet peeve of mine because what happens is, like you with Molly Two Poops, I've had other dogs off leash at parks, whatever, charge at me and my dog, and I scoop her up. They're like, they always say the same thing. Oh,
no,
they never do this.
Do that. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, they just did. So put them on a leash.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's true. You just can't. Now, dog park's a little different. I mean, that's
no, not a dog park, just a park.
Yeah.
So not an intended place for the dogs to have.
Yeah. You should always have your dog on.
As the dog is snarling at me, and you try to tell me that the dog is friendly. Get the F out of here. Right? I didn't ask for your dog to come over off leash. Get it out of my face.
Now, old Bocephus, my old golden retriever, he would go off leash with me, but he would walk right by. Like, he just.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would do that now because, again, he goes and sniffs the wrong dog. That dog's biting his face off.
Well, and if you do that, you better have supreme faith and know that your dog is okay. It's just most people aren't. Most people think, oh, my dog would never, right until they do. Take it from experience. Don't ever let someone tell you, oh, my dog's friendly, because you end up in the hospital with your face ripped open.
It's kind of a defensive parent syndrome, like when you find out, like, oh, your kid supposedly hit another kid on the playground or whatever, and you're like, oh, Johnny would never do that. Well, Johnny did that today.
Well,
so
especially when you have a dog that can cause real problems. If you own a bulldog, you own a pit bull, you own a Rottweiler, you own a Doberman, I'm sorry, you have a responsibility, as Seth Everett said, to be more responsible.
Well, I don't think I've never seen a pit bull roaming off leash.
Well,
but if I did,
you've seen a Rottweiler apparently, and that's just as scary.
Yeah. And that dog may be super. Like, I may talk to the owner eventually, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, she's really sweet. She just
well." But that's the thing.
Doesn't seem it.
Yeah, you can't. Even if she is really sweet, who the hell are you to determine for the rest of the neighborhood that they get to see your Rottweiler running around unleashed?
Yeah. I wonder what the other people in the neighborhood think of that dog.
I have a dog, like, this is the one I have now, is the nicest dog I've ever had. Ever. He loves kids, people, dogs, doesn't have a mean bone in his body. But he weighs 160 pounds, and I'd be good and damned if I'm just going to let him roam my neighborhood and expect everyone to see the small bear walking around and be like, nope, he's friendly. Don't worry, everybody, he's fine. I'm sorry, if you do that, you're an ass. You're an absolute ass if you put that on everyone else. It's ridiculous. It's just,
all right.
People are piss poor dog owners.
Your audience to be more responsible.
Yes.
Coming up next, it is time. Oh, so John Calipari, put your stupid little S-head dog on a leash and stop walking it in a stroller. You bitch.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not like having a Labradoodle or anything, but it's bad. I mean, it's right there with it.
She's a wonderful being.
All right.
A Labradoodle.
We have a real-life Ocean's 11 story. And what if you ran into Alex Jones at a tiki bar?
Could I throw something at him?
That's the whole point. What if you did? Like, what would you do? Some people would throw things at him, I'm sure.
Yeah. I might.
So we'll get into that next. It's the Club on the Fan.
Auto accident? I'm Leif with Leif's Auto Collision Centers. Recently, a customer told me their vehicle had been repaired at an insurance body shop. After repairs, they tried to trade it in. The dealership subtracted $3,000 due to poor repairs. Surveys find over 90% of vehicles repaired at cheap insurance shops are inferior. Amazing. Insurers profit from unsafe repairs and loss of value. Don't be a victim twice. You have the right to choose. Choose Leif's. Pre-loss repairs, factory parts, the finest in collision repair.
Arizona. Right?
Yes.
Phoenix.
Glendale, yeah.
they're down
So I
in
think
Phoenix.
they've got the Native American.
Oh yeah,
They've got the tribe down there that.
All the tribes are represented. We
I don't
think?
know about all, but one of them, it's Talking Stick Arena, right? Like,
Yeah, I think
isn't
so.
one of the.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's Talking Stick. Isn't it the big football stadium? Isn't it University of Phoenix Stadium?
Oh yeah, because they do.
It's not. It's not the basketball
they
arena.
play
It's
all
like the
these.
70,000.
Yeah, they play all
football
these in the
stadium.
football arena. That is
Yeah.
correct.
All right. Well, she's pretty hot.
We don't know who she is,
Hodges.
but she's a hot old Hodges.
What's this one? So this is this
What?
this is Hang Loose, right?
That's Hang Loose. You're doing
What's
the
this?
horns. That's Texas.
That's
Hook
what,
'em.
That's what she just did.
Well, she might be doing the.
Are we sure it wasn't an "I love you" like with the thumb out?
I don't know what is that. She
Well,
just
could,
did that.
That could just be. That's the devil horns too. That's like rock on.
Party on.
Yeah, that's a party.
Ooh, forgot about this.
What?
Well, I forgot to put it in the notes, but listener reminded us on the Vancouver Ford text line. What do you have to say about your boy Morgan Waller being arrested at the CMT Awards?
Oh yeah. What do you?
I think it's Wallen, isn't it?
It's
Or
Wallen.
Wallen, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Did he throw like? Did he throw like
The
a
racist
chair
guy.
or something off or whatever?
He threw a chair off the roof of I think Dierks Bentley's bar or some other country star's bar, and it almost hit some cops standing down below.
Yeah. I saw he was smiling at his mugshot. He must have been dropping a bunch of
Yeah, because he knows
N-bombs.
nothing's going to happen to him.
No.
Yeah, he's the racist guy, right?
Yeah, he got caught on camera shouting the N-word a
If
bunch.
I can get away with that, I can get away with anything.
And got more popular. Yeah, he knows his fan base. They're like, yeah, we stand with you, buddy.
By the
you
way,
can't
have
get
you-
canceled in that genre.
Have you listened to Cowboy Carter yet?
Yeah, I have. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
Oh, I think it's really good.
Yeah, kind of. Like I'm not.
But-
I'm not the biggest Beyonce guy in the world, but my the BTJ was listening to it, and it's a nice little album.
Yeah, that's Beyonce's new album.
Yeah.
Not all that country
No.
in a lot of places. Like, I feel like there's a lot of marketing going on there where they released the two songs.
Texas Hold'em and
Yeah.
That are the
Carriage-
countryest?
16 Carriages.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em, now that's a jam.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
But I feel like they kind of, I don't know, it's not all country. There's a ton of tracks on there too, by the way. There's
Well, she even said that it's not necessarily about doing a country album. She was saying that
she's from Texas.
Yeah, well, and she's saying that she's doing like an album that's going to break through genres. But like there is like Dolly Parton's on there, Willie
Yeah.
Nelson,
and she sings Blackbird too.
Yeah, they do a really great. Her and someone else, I forget who else is on there with her, but she does a great version of Blackbird. The Jolene might be my favorite song on there. She does Jolene, the old Dolly Parton song, but she changes the lyrics because in the original Jolene, it's Dolly Parton begging Jolene not to take her man. And in this one, Beyonce's threatening that if you do try to take her man, she'll shoot you in the face. And it's a nice...
Which is very country.
Yes. Yeah, it's a nice little... Look,
it's
turnaround there.
The album is great.
Yes,
but when
it's
you
very good.
when you turn it on, you'll be like, this is not country.
Well, this is my thing. I like country music. Check that. I liked country music. But if you turn on...
I like the music I like.
If you turn on Cowboy Carter, that is more country than 75% of what you hear on country radio.
Yeah, country pop sucks.
I mean, from Jelly Roll to Sam Hunt, and none of this is really country anymore. The only reason it's country is because someone has a southern accent.
Or is wearing a cowboy hat.
If you wear a cowboy hat or you have a southern accent, then you're country. But country music is now more stadium, like... It's closer to some sort of weird southern country classic rock than it is to actually country music. Like you still have some like big acts like Chris Stapleton would sound like country music, like Colter Wall, like some of the fringe guys. But most of the big country stars aren't country. Again, listen to Morgan Wallen sometime. You think he sounds like country
I've never
music?
heard him. I've only heard that he's a racist.
It's not good. I won't listen to him because he is a racist. His words, not mine. And I just think his music sucks. But he's a big freaking deal. Like he is.
Wait, did he say I'm a racist?
No, but
I mean, obviously the words would indicate
he got
that,
drunk
but-
and started yelling the N-word.
Yeah, no, I knew that. But when
And
you said his words, not mine, I'm like, whoa, he
well,
said
that's what
that?
I'm saying.
Yeah,
His
I got you.
words. And I love the I'm not racist. It's just when I get drunk, I like to shout the N-word. Yeah, that's
So the true you comes out.
Well, that's my
Same
thing.
with
Is
throwing
it-
chairs.
So you're expecting me to believe that was the only you never used that word. It's just that one time you used it, everyone happened to see you. Get out of here.
All right, so somebody ran into Alex Jones at a tiki bar over the last week. I guess he showed up at WWE or something.
I would like to throw a drink at Alex Jones.
Well, he was sitting. So there is video of him sitting at a tiki, or maybe it's a photo. And I don't know where they were. Obviously some swanky resort.
Sure. Which, by the way, he still owes people hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet he hasn't paid them a dime.
And yet he bellied up at this.
Of course.
At this tiki bar.
I
wonder what you would do if you ran into Alex Jones at an island tiki bar.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's like, I guarantee he's got bodyguards and,
look like it.
Sue you or whatnot. I tell you what I would like to do to Alex Jones if I ran into a tiki bar.
And who would you most want to run into at this bar?
Ooh.
And who would be most triggering for you?
Alex Jones would be high on my list.
So we will get to that coming up next on The Fan.
It's the Vancouver Ford text line.
I mean, he is a putrid human being. If something bad were to happen to him, good riddance.
So he claimed in all the court cases that he had no money.
Yes. And the judge laughed at him and was like, shut up.
But he filed for bankruptcy, and then late last year, I guess he started to kind of deal with the families regarding a settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trading proposals, and it says just this last month, well, in February, late February, the families of Sandy Hook approved a plan to liquidate all of his assets.
Good.
The proposal would methodically liquidate and redistribute his property in cash while preserving potential legal actions against parties affiliated with Jones and his InfoWars program. For his part, Jones is then asking the families instead to allow him to reorganize by preserving parts of his media empire and paying the group at least $5.5 million a year over 10 years.
Boy,
no, you don't get to reorganize your empire, dude.
I hope
burn
that
it down.
I hope they make him just sell everything.
The host is hoping to collect an annual salary of $520,000 as part of his plan, claiming the company expects to sell more than $30 million a year in dietary supplements.
Yeah. I mean, this is his whole. If you watch that piece, the whole thing is that he treaded all over those murdered children so that he could sell fake supplements. That's his whole deal. You go to InfoWars or whatever that place is, and he sells like the same stuff that like the religious channels sell. He sells like silver, like the silver component stuff that'll cure COVID. Just the biggest pile of absolute nonsense, horse crap, pseudoscience stuff. And he makes, and by the way, like in that documentary, they would prove that every time he would say something horrific about the conspiracy about the Sandy Hook families, sales would go up. And so they would keep hammering that over and over and over and over again. The man peed all over murdered children so that he could sell supplements.
So they're now saying that. So it's still not settled, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the deal. But he said on his show recently that he is officially out of money. And yet he's seen in Kauai slamming drinks at the pool.
Oh, and again, during the trial when they were announcing the millions, he was laughing and cheering. He's just such a smug son of a bitch.
How much do you think he ends up paying?
Dude, I don't know, man. I have no faith in any of these cases. Like, OJ's never given the Goldmans a dime. I don't know. I don't know. I just hope that at least, one, he's not allowed to continue to spread this crap. And two, at least maybe it makes his life uncomfortable that he has to spend the rest of his life at least hiding and running from this. Like right now, he's like, you can get InfoWars Life, bodies, whole body support, anti-inflammatory support, joint supplement. That's the stuff he sells. And morons buy it in droves.
So who would you most want to run into at a tiki bar in Kauai?
Could I run into someone in a alley behind a tiki bar? I would like to hurt Alex Jones. I really would.
No, I'm saying who would you most want to run into?
Like a positive run into.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, yours has always been Bridges.
Always been Jeff Bridges. He seems, one, I just love him, and he seems like just a great human being. Two guys, Jeff Bridges and Dave Grohl. Two people that are absolute heroes of mine that actually seem like kick-ass people that if you were on vacation and you were at a bar, I could see either one of those guys sitting down and actually having a drink and striking up a conversation. As long as you didn't fanboy out.
Just making normal small talk?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty chill environment.
Yeah.
Like where you could approach the guy?
Yes.
Who would be the most triggering? Would it be Alex Jones?
It'd be Alex Jones. I honestly think if I was like, we're going down to the Caribbean at the end of this month. And I will be drunk and will not wear a shirt the entire time down there. If I was sitting at a bar like that and he came in, I do feel like it would probably be best if I left. I would not want to share a space with him. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for my mental health. It just would be a bad beat. Like I don't think I could be in a room with him. I don't think I could be civil to him. Especially get a couple drinks going. And that's no good for anybody. Not good.
A buddy of mine just sent me this right now on InfoWars.
Yeah.
Their poll question is, what does the April eclipse signify? Planned false flag.
Ah, yes.
Fulfillment of prophecy, natural celestial event, or omen.
See, he still is doing it. Like that's the
worst part.
And that's the thing, like when you watch that documentary, like the judge was just livid with him because while he was on trial for this stuff, he was going on air the same day that he was in trial and continuing to say the same things. Like he will not stop.
Why is he not in jail?
I don't know. He shouldn't be allowed. And yet then it bothers me when people with big platforms let that douche canoe on there. And they're like, he's not such a bad guy. He's just a little bit of a conspiracy theory.
Wasn't he at WrestleMania? Did I see that right?
I don't know. Was he?
They had him as like a guest referee or something?
God, I hope not.
Or maybe that was somebody that just looked like him, but
I hope not.
WrestleMania was a big thing over the weekend.
It was a huge deal.
That hit up my timeline.
That fascinates me. You want to
I
talk
think
about...
it was an Alex Jones lookalike, so or a ref that looked like Alex Jones, so everyone was like making jokes that it was him at WrestleMania. I don't think it was actually him.
Can I say this on a little side tangent there? I do not understand grown men that are really, really into wrestling.
Yeah, that's not Alex. That doesn't look like... Well, I mean, it looks like him, but I don't think that's him. I think Alex Jones is actually fatter than that.
Yeah, he's gained a bunch of weight. Which is why, again, I'm hoping that at least his life from here on out is uncomfortable.
Yeah, the wrestling thing, I saw that there was a...
It was a huge deal. They said like it was breaking records. It was like The Rock was involved. And
that's not him. There is somebody called... I found this out yesterday. I don't follow wrestling. I'm with you on the grown men following wrestling. It's weird. But I found out via my timeline, whether I liked it or not, a bunch of wrestling stuff was coming across it.
Yeah.
And I found out there's a guy named Bisexual Undertaker.
Huh?
Did you know this?
No.
Wait, that's a real thing, or is this an online joke?
No. The bisexual...
Because the actual Undertaker showed up. He did a choke slam on The Rock.
Yeah, I saw that.
The bisexual Undertaker...
Is he friends with the regular Undertaker?
Won a match or something.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like the Undertaker, but he wears pink? I don't know what all
I
that...
mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm fascinated in that lately... Wrestling has been getting... It's big business. And so I get it. It's the whole male soap opera thing. And, hey, whatever. Like, it's like going to a movie. It's just... It's theater. I like going to theater.
I think it's nostalgic for people, too. People who grew up watching wrestling, you're like, it brings me back.
I'm going to see Beetlejuice tomorrow at the Keller. And I'm pretty sure that the real Beetlejuice isn't coming out on that stage. So it's just theater. But what I don't get... Because this comes across my timeline a bunch. And like, I follow The Rock. And it's like... People talk about wrestling and they debate it as if it's real. Like, who is it's Dusty Rhodes' kid, whoever that guy is. He won the whole thing, right? And they're like, literally people yelling about, can he do it? Like, does he have it in him? I'm like, what do you mean? Does he?
It's whether the producers will let him do it. But the crazy thing to me, we have online odds about this. Like, I hear on like the BetQL, like Odyssey Network or whatever, when this comes up, they have guests on, gambling guests who handicap WrestleMania.
How can you even do that?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense.
Because they're not letting the results out, even though it is...
Somebody knows it, though.
Somebody, you would think, somebody knows it. Or maybe they're doing a better job because they want the handle on it. I don't know, but it's becoming a thing.
Yeah, they're like, Cody Rhodes. They're like, Cody Rhodes tries to finish his story. Like, can he do it? And people, like, really act like he's... Like, does he have it in? Does he... I just... It's so weird. Not that you like wrestling, but you talk about it and you debate it. Well, you're saying if like Cody Rhodes has anything to do with beating whoever, The Rock and whoever.
They do with the same tenor, like, can Zach Edey win the national title?
Yes.
It's like, well, he's actually playing a game that we don't know the outcome of.
It's so bizarre, and believe me, much respect. Those dudes' bodies take a horrible punishment, and you got to be a great athlete and tough and all that. But it's not real. It's not real.
Hey, you shut up.
Like, Like Brock Lesnar fought in the UFC and like won the heavyweight title. Like that's real. This idea of like this weird debate over something that's fake is fascinating to me. And I feel like the last handful of years, that's become a real thing. And ESPN like covers WrestleMania and they talk about it like it's a real sport. And it's so strange to see grown men like weeping but I mean, everyone has their thing. That's just one as a guy that grew up loving wrestling and the Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior and Ric Flair and all that. It fascinates me that grown men are still.
Yeah, I loved it, and then I
into
ditched my wrestling shirts around sophomore year of high school, maybe freshman year.
Yeah. College, there was a little bit of resurgence. That was like when Hogan went like bad.
And that was when I was in middle school, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's about our gap. And so that was right when I was the NWO red versus black.
Yeah, I remember getting all drunk and going to like the E Center in Salt Lake and watching that. And then like you graduated college and you're like, all right, that's the end of that. I can't imagine showing up to WrestleMania as like a 45-year-old and being like, The Rock, woo! But hey, man, teach their own.
And every single one of those events sell out across the country.
Oh, it's huge.
It's wild.
I think it's like bigger than ever. Like wrestling's got like a whole new life.
All right, up next we have a real life Ocean's 11. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan. In college hoops, the men's national title game is underway. Number 1 Purdue taking on number 1 Yukon. The Yukon Huskies up 16-15 with Zach Edey going to the line trying to convert an and one. There's about 14 minutes left in this one. In the first half of this one, I should say. Meanwhile, in other college hoops news, big-time bombshell overnight as John Calipari leaving Kentucky to take the head coaching job at Arkansas. It's reported to be a 5-year deal. Calipari won a national title at Kentucky, also took the Wildcats to 3 other Final Fours. Baylor's Scott Drew is the odds-on favorite to replace him. Some big news out of Corvallis today as well, as star sophomore Tamia Gardner is entering the transfer portal, leaving the Beavers women's basketball program, joining Talia von Oelhoffen in her departure. No word yet on Reagan Beer's future. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
All right, y'all. Window Nation offered a pretty good deal right now. If you need to take the plunge and get some new windows for your home, you can buy 2 windows and get 2 free. Now, that doesn't mean you only just get the 2 free windows.
like everyone that's non-Purdue bitches and moans and says that he gets all the calls, but he's just such a unique guy.
So now the new guy they put on him just got a foul.
Yeah.
And Purdue is basically just going to him every time down and saying, okay, you're going to run out of players.
And that might be how they handle this game. I mean,
right.
that is him being on the bench right now. Klingon being on the bench right now is massive for this game.
Well, Edie already 5 of 7,
Yep.
11 points, and like you said, UConn's got their.
Oh, they put Klingon back in.
Yeah, they've got their big, who's just been dominant in this, and he's already picked up a couple fouls.
All that, it's a tie game. 18-18. A brazen Los Angeles cash heist on Easter weekend in which thieves cracked a safe and got away with as much as $30 million is believed to be one of the largest such heists in U.S.
$30 million?
U.S. history.
Yikes. Screw the Powerball. Let's do that. Let's go.
Well,
straight cash, baby. No taxes on that.
A lot of the people who are investigating this or just experts on this kind of stuff say that this is next to impossible, what these people have pulled off. And it has triggered rampant speculation among a public long infatuated with daring burglaries and hefty criminal paydays.
Yeah, we won't shut up about the D.B. Cooper thing, and he only was like, wasn't that like 200 G's?
Yeah.
It wasn't that much.
I mean, this is insane, and yet it really didn't make headline news. L.A. police and the FBI are still tight-lipped about any new developments. But the facility was a location of Garda World, which is a global cash management and security company. They are based out of Canada, which also operates fleets of armored cars. And they have not responded yet either, so nobody really knows what happened. But police...
Who would have thought just some random building has $30 million in it?
Totally.
Yeah, that is a bit of a head scratcher.
Totally.
How many other buildings have 30 million in them?
Great question. This opens up many moons of questions. But police said officers got a call for service at that facility at 4:30 a.m. Easter Sunday. And aerial footage from TV showed a large hole on the side of the building that appeared to be boarded up with plywood. So an armored car and physical security expert by the name of Jim McGuffey called the theft a shock. He said any such facility should have 2 alarm systems and a seismic motion detector right on the safe.
One would think $30 million?
As well as additional motion sensors throughout the building. He said for that kind of money, you don't just walk in and walk out with it. A facility should be protected from the top to the bottom and the sides. A former police detective in New Jersey and Vegas, Randy Sutton, who investigated major crimes and high-end burglary, said a crime of this magnitude had likely been planned for months or longer and involved numerous people.
Had to be an inside thing, right?
You would think.
Right? There's no way that you don't have a guy that's on the inside.
He said this took a tremendous amount of research and tremendous amount of knowledge on the technical end regarding the circumvention of security systems and surveillance. He said much of the cash at a facility like the one operated by Garda World has already been in circulation, so unless it comes directly from the U.S. Treasury, the majority of it may not be traceable.
Yeah, they're saying that the bills have all been used, and so it doesn't even necessarily have to be cleaned or washed.
Exactly.
You can just take the cash and you can vanish.
So how much is $30 million in cash? Well, they said if it's $1 million in $100 bills alone, it will weigh about 22 pounds.
Yeah, the one I saw said it estimated around 650 pounds that this all weighed to get out of there.
Well, that's if it's hundreds.
Yes.
$100 bills. Yeah. If it's denominations like 5s, 10s, 20s.
Yeah, it could be 1,000 pounds.
They're saying the overall weight of this haul could be over 7,500 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
Depending on the denominations.
I'm guessing that you had a bunch of guys and maybe a cart or two. Holy hell.
Is this the largest cash heist in the world? It is not. That is believed to be the plundering of the Central Bank of Iraq during the U.S. invasion in 2003.
Oh.
And other large cash heists have been pulled off in Europe and South America. This one would be among the largest ever in the U.S.
Okay. That makes sense. I would assume, like in a war-torn country like that, when there's like what's going on in the Ukraine, I'm guessing that if you've got the knowledge, you can probably get away with a lot during war. if you're willing to risk the whole getting blown up thing, like if there's a massive air raid going on, I don't think anyone's paying any attention to the bank alarm going off.
Yeah, they're saying that Iraq bank, that was your boy Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, he just walked away with it.
Well, he was expecting U.S. forces to be in the area at any minute, so he went in there and was like, yeah, I'll be taking this.
Deuces him out. And then he ended up in a drain pipe or something. It still pales in comparison to like the whole like the Sochi games. They're saying that Putin and his cronies suckled off a couple $1 billion.
Now that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to take $30 million in cash. It's another thing. Like, go look into the Sochi games. Like, the cost of it was so astronomical, no one could believe it. And they would say that like there would be like a project, like a road that had to be built or an arena, and people are saying, yeah, that probably should have cost, I don't know, $6 to $10 million. And then the Russian government would be like, yeah, that project is $200 million. And everyone's like, what? How is that $200 million? And they're like, you don't worry about it. It's just $200 million. And then the thing would get built, and whatever happened to the extra cheese, and by extra cheese, I mean, everything was bid so astronomically high. And everyone knew about it, and then Putin would be like, this is all on the up and up, and it just vanished. And I read a thing, this was a number of years ago, they said that they think that may be the biggest theft in modern history. And they just did it out in front of everybody and just had the government pay for it.
So this says that 2 years ago, and I don't remember hearing about this at all, but there was a Brinks big rig that was at a truck stop in Southern California. And somebody robbed it and got out of there with $100 million in jewels.
Ooh. See, that's a little dicey though, because again, then you have to have a way to move them.
This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, did they ever get caught?
I don't know. I didn't even hear about that.
Because you get that, then that's that's the old again. Ocean's 11 have taught me. It's one thing to steal something. It's another thing to know you have to like sell it. Like if you steal like the most expensive painting in the world, that's cool. But how do you sell? Like if I gave you something like that, if I gave you the world's most expensive diamond, what would you do with it?
Well,
it's stolen. It's in your possession. That thing's worth $500 million.
Well, because I am a man of great integrity, I would give it back to the authorities.
But you can't exactly go to Google and be like, how do I navigate the dark web? Like,
exactly, right?
Like, it's a great question. You have to have ties. You have to know
rock
people
down to the Rog Brothers Jewelers and be like, hey.
Why not? Well, they're closed.
Okay, there you go. K or whatever, and be like, are you interested in buying my diamond? And they're like, yeah, let me see it. Well, I can't show it to you right now, but maybe we meet somewhere off-site. Like,
yeah, I don't know what
I don't know what you do with that. It's the same thing if you have a bunch of marked bills. And that's what they're saying about this heist, why this may never get solved. If you steal $30 million, but they know that what those bills are, the only way I know how to do any of that is from watching movies. Like go to casinos but again, if I go up to A and I start cashing in $500,000 on a regular basis, someone's gonna report me. Someone's going to be like, this is a bit odd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to clean
it's
that
true.
cash.
I would have no chance at getting away with any of that.
Yeah.
No chance. Yeah, no, I mean no chance. I'm reading about this Brinks tractor trailer truck stop heist. Holy crap.
I somewhat
Wow.
remember us talking about that.
All right, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
It's kind of my last vessel into like it feels like college sports as I know it, and this is over. Like the conferences will be realigned. There's going to be a lot of teams that are left out or they go to different things and it doesn't make sense anymore. And so like it kind of feels like my last grasp of college athletics as I've known it.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Ready for concert quality sound in your vehicle? At Car Toys, we can radically improve your audio without touching your dash thanks to our innovative technology. Hear what a digital sound processor with professional tuning from JL Audio, Alpine, or Moscone can add to your factory sound system, starting at $799. Want a safer drive? Get free installation on select Apple CarPlay and Android Auto receivers from $229. Get the drive you deserve, in-store or at cartoys.com.
Car Toys, a better way to go.
Portland Perks.
Head to Portland Perks for an amazing deal at Wildlife Safari. Admission for 2 for just $28.75. Wildlife Safari is just south of Roseburg and a fun adventure for the whole family. Limited quantity available only at portlandperks.com.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Danny Green, 3-time NBA champ. You either rooted for me or rooted against me. Join myself and my co-host Harrison Sanford on the Inside the Green Room podcast.
It's a podcast that brings you never-before-told tales from the locker room to candid interviews with basketball legends to breakdowns of what's happening in the NBA right now. Whether you're a diehard fan or casual about your hoops, this podcast brings you the game like never before.
Follow Inside the Green Room on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites, go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Hey, it's Sook. And guys, for those of you with a full head of hair, congratulations. Studies show that one of the most attractive physical features is a full head of hair. It sucks to be me, because you know what the least attractive? Well, hair loss. And some say that no amount of cars or houses or success can make up for balding, as it leaves the greatest lasting impression. But it doesn't have to be that way for a lot of you. For me, it's too late. But Advanced Hair has the quick one-day solution for a lot of your hair losses that can make you look 10 to 20 years younger. No more expensive pills or topicals, just your very own natural hair, guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has improved tens of thousands of lives, and I sure wish they were around when I went bald decades ago. Did I mention with Advanced Hair, your own natural hair begins to grow the very next day? So for your free, no-hassle consultation, call 503-832-HAIR. And if you qualify, you get $250 and